Welcome to Season 2, Episode 5 of the Punk Rock Drummers Podcast, brought to you by SJC Drums. We'll sit down with someone who was or is in a punk band or who was just inspired by the music. And today's guest is Nick Branigan, formerly of Bane, and many other things. Hopefully we can get him back for a second episode sometime to go over some more current music projects.
Yeah. Yep. Had a good time talking to Nick. What was it, like a 2.5 hour conversation?
Yeah, it was a good one. Dude, Nick has great stories and very detailed answers to the questions. So,
yeah, super sweet guy. It's funny because, you'll listen to the music and it's very, hardcore, loud and aggressive. And then you sit down with one of these guys and you just learn that all that is just love coming out of them. All that aggression. It's just love. They're the sweetest guys ever.
Absolutely.
That's my experience. And Nick was no exception.
Absolutely.
Yeah, super sweet guy, interesting, great stories. Yeah, it's cool. It was really nice talking to him. I like your new look there, Christian. That looks great. The drums behind you.
Oh, I thought you finally noticed my new glasses, but nope, still not. Okay, whatever. Thanks, man. Yeah, I rearranged some stuff down here, and who knows if it'll stay that way, but small basement, so just constantly trying to figure out the best angle for everything. But
I like it.
Yeah, it may look good, but it's kind of cramped and I feel weird. But anyways, enough about me. Trying to think what else we got.
Well, like you mentioned, SJC Drums are the greatest. They are taking a chance on us and sponsored our little podcast. We just broke 2,000 downloads, whatever that means. This is our 15th episode. So, we're relatively young and they're, throwing support behind us. I honestly, I can't believe it. So I'm very thankful to SJC Drums. SJCdrums.com is their website. So please go check them out.
SJC, if you're watching this, it froze in mind a little bit. So while Matt was talking about you, I went and rolled my eyes. So that wasn't at you. It was just another freeze up on my end. But yeah, no, it was definitely, you're right, man. It's pretty killer to have,
discount code Punk Rock Drummers as well. If you're buying any of their product.
Yep. And then we're gonna rep our sleeve washers as usual.
Sleevewashers.com.
Get some sleeve washers. Those are rad.
Yeah, I just put new fresh ones on my I call it the Cubert snare. It's Rhino made it years ago for me, and I just replaced all my sleeved washers. So I plan on taking it to Canada when I play with my band Fire Cell for Music for Cancer next month. So gonna get it all tuned up and sounding nice.
Sweet. I would like to thank my buddy Tyler over at Pacemaker Studios in upstate New York. I have my first show coming up behind the drums in almost 20 years. It's a tribute show to a band I used to be in called Bulldog Courage. Since then, two of the guys have passed away. It's coming up on 15 years of the record being released. So we're just doing a little tribute. It's the remaining members, and then every 2 songs we're gonna have some guest vocalists come on and sing. And Tyler has an amazing studio up here in upstate New York, but he was also kind enough to let us do all of our practices at his place, which was insanely helpful. So Tyler, if you're listening, man, we couldn't have been able to do this without you, and thank you. And if you're in the upstate New York area, you should come to the show. Throw tomatoes at me like the old times.
That's awesome.
It's at Empire Live in Albany, New York.
You'll do great. That's the Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll be awesome. You'll do great.
Yeah,
I'm excited for you, man.
I got this new trick where I put a crash cymbal right in the middle of my drum, so I can't see the crowd, and they won't be able to see me. So it'll be a lot easier. But no, it'll be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it. So
yeah, I wanted to thank. I don't know if I did this yet, but when I was in Belgium last month playing at Brack Rock, London Drumstick Company couldn't get my sticks to me in time in the States, and so they sent them to a nearby, like a UPS type store. For me to pick up, and I literally walked there. That's how close it was. And so londondrumsticks.co.uk. Ask for Will, and they're very good people there. Great drumsticks, great sticks.
Tell them Large Marge sent you.
That's right. Any other
Oh,
news?
Pee Wee. I think that's about it, man.
All right. Well,
All I
let's
can think of.
like I said, 2.5 hour episode. Oh, and I queued up some music on this one, so
Oh
you'll
yeah,
you'll
it's our
have a little
first.
bit better experience on this one. Our episodes are getting a little better each time, so I'm learning how to edit better and try to make things more interesting visually and audibly. So we hope you enjoy
Heck
it.
yeah. All right. Until next time, nerds. Later.
See ya. Hi.
Here we are. All right. So, Nick, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. And again, sorry for the technical issues there. It was a rocky
problem.
start, but we got there.
No, it's only like every Zoom meeting I've ever been on, so it's okay.
So, yeah, man, I really appreciate you joining us. This is super cool for me. I can't count the amount of times I went and saw you guys. I'm from Albany, New York.
Mhm.
So I saw you guys a ton in those early days at the QE2.
Me too. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, which is now the Fuse Box, but it's
Oh,
very
it's still a venue. That's great.
it's
That's
still
great.
a venue. It's very different. The stage is in a completely different spot. It's been retooled and I think gone through a couple owners, but it still stands. It still exists, which is great.
Here.
Saw you at Siena College
Cool.
way back in the day. So yeah, we there's some history with Albany,
I
but
think the first show I played with Bane in front of people was in Albany. I
oh
think.
really?
Yeah.
I'll have to go through the archives to see if that was there. Most
Might
likely.
have been. So did QE2 have an upstairs and a small downstairs?
That was Valentine's.
Oh, Valentine's. That's
Valentine's,
what it was.
which
So the
is
first-
literally probably 2
That was
miles.
the first show I ever played in front of people with Bane. Was at Valentine's.
Was it
But,
upstairs?
It was an oddball, like one off. Before we went on tour in '98, I played it. Like the show was already booked, and they were like scrambling, but
Well, I'm willing to bet if it was in the 90s, that was like prime showtime for me. So were you guys upstairs or downstairs? Do you remember?
it was upstairs. I remember there being kind of like a very odd layout of the stage and like a kind of like a barrier in front of the stairs, like some kind of some very oddball shit going on with the layout. But
and those stairs too, those steep stairs going up to the venue of like anyone with a bass cab was instantly in hell.
Yeah, I mean, we helped lift Pete's bass amp up many a fucked up stairway.
Well, at least you helped. At least you helped.
Lord of the Rings was nothing. I saw that staircase and was like, that's in Europe.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Go to Europe. Go to tour in Europe. That's nothing. That's nothing.
That's
I just got
awesome.
back from Belgium and everything was just so different there. Everything's so small and like, even like the elevators, the streets, everything. It's just so different than here.
You're also 7 feet tall, but
Are you? Are you
No, I'm
7 feet?
6'3".
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
Well,
know.
I'm 6'1". So but 6'3", even when you're 6'1", 6'3" feels like that's tall.
I know that's how I feel around someone who's 6'5". I'm like, God, you're so tall.
Yeah, once you start getting up over the twos and the threes, it's just it's all over. It's all over.
I used to
Right.
be a little over 6'2", and then I spent 20 years tattooing hunched over like this, and now you and I are the same height, Nick.
Oh wow. Okay, cool.
Or I have osteoporosis. Either one.
I always felt as a drummer being tall was kind of a disadvantage. Like arms are really long and like there's more of you to move, And,
Yeah,
I always thought
I
smaller
think
guys made better drummers.
I think you're only at a disadvantage. And again, not to disparage touring in Europe, I think it's great. But like you're often in very small
Yes.
venues and or like you're in kind of someone's version of a venue that has like never been to one or like seen a show or something. It's just sort of like, here's the stage. It's this little corner over here. And you're like, okay, like you're cramped completely against the back wall.
Oh,
And you're
yeah.
like, if you're tall, I got very like long arms. So if I hit anything with my elbows and I can't do my full
yeah.
reach, it's over. I can't. It's really. I used to get real hot under the collar about it, but I'm much more mellow now. But I didn't. But it was always like a semi almost like deal breaker for me. It was like, if my elbows hit anything, I'm not fucking playing.
Yeah, dude, I had a tiny practice spot with some dudes that were like all giants compared to me, and it was the same thing. I just leave with bruises on my elbows from
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you gotta go with it. But it's, it's like, Jesus Christ, like, dude, have you seen what the needs are of a band? Like, it's not much.
Yeah, we didn't
This is
tour
true.
there. We played Brack Rock, and that was, a big outside stage. So we didn't get
Right.
to tour there, so I didn't experience that, but all the hotels and everything else was
Mhm.
super cramped.
Well, yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm just going to jump right in, and I know
Sure.
it's such a generic question, but I really enjoy this one. What was the first kit?
It was I think it was a Ludwig Rocker 2 or something. It was like, it was kind of like barf board, like a fiberboard shell. I don't think it was exactly wood. Um, like some sort of weirdo composite,
What was it? The
80s.
inside?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
so
And I
those-
mean, the outside they were like, like a black
So that
plastic
was
black
that was marketed as granite tone.
granitone.
And
Oh, wow.
yeah, I have one of the kicks from that period. And I think what happened was I think the wood grain just came out really ugly. So they just kind of spray painted the inside of the drums with whatever they had around, and that was
Really?
it. Or it's supposed to give the sound texture or something like that. Dude, it was the
So it
80s.
is. So it is it's like plywood.
Yeah, it's wood, and then
essentially.
they just spray paint that weird grayish. It's like a grayish black kind of textured paint, right?
Yeah, like it looks like you ever go camping, like the camping plates? Like it kind of looked a little bit like the camping
Yes,
plates, like a ceramic, almost like a ceramic.
I believe that is wood underneath there.
I've never heard that term. What do you call it? Barf wood?
Barf board.
Oh, barf
I mean,
board.
it's like
yeah.
like IKEA cabinets, or like it's like the hot dog of wood.
MDF maybe.
Hot dog of wood.
I mean, it is shit that falls on the floor, and they.
I bet you had that
impregnate it with
sounding really
wood.
great though.
Yeah. No, I think it did. I mean, I like my young, I didn't know like if it sounded good or bad. And I didn't know. It's kind of like how the Minute guys in the Minutemen describe, like, D Boone and Mike Watt were like, yeah, we just didn't know like how to fucking tune a bass. We just thought some guys liked them loose, and whatever. That's how I felt about the drums. It was sort of like some guys like the drums to be really like, like the way the heads have to be wavy, So like I didn't really know from sound, and like obviously kept the same heads on for fucking forever because I just so expensive.
What color was it?
I was black.
Black. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I've got it like a 50-50. I have this sort of like wine red drum theory that like at least 50% of drummers started out on some kit, whether it was a CB700 or not, that got awful wine red color. And
The burgundy.
Yep. Yeah. The burgundy.
And they're all alcoholics now. All of them.
So were you self-taught?
Yeah. I mean, I can't like, I can't rightly claim that because I did take lessons. When I first got my kit, I agreed to take lessons at the local shop. But like, I was probably 12 or 11 or very young, and I really do think that whatever you're taught, if you're interested in it, whatever you're taught at that age, like I'm seeing it in my son who's 9, it's like, whatever he's like really like pumped on, if he puts his mind to it and you teach him something, he really retains it and remembers it. The shit he's not interested in, he like can't remember. But like I was the same. I mean, I think a lot of people are. I know like a lot of musicians maybe too. But I didn't like the lessons. It was very shy. I was a very shy child, and I was also in a band. Like the minute I got drums, I had older brothers, so the minute I got drums, it was like the minute I was in the band,
Right.
And it was kind of because my brother had been jamming with a various pastiche of complete oddball punk rockers and complete oddball burnout metalheads that he had like befriended at school. And the burnout metalhead that like was the drummer decided he didn't want to play like punk and like just flew the coop. So like they were still wanted to play in the band, and I had proven myself to keep time to some degree because I used to play my bed. I used to sit at my in front of my bed and just like play with my sticks, and got a pair of sticks. I got like a practice pad and a pair of sticks, and I would just like play along with like records I really liked. So, and it was next to my brother's room, so he kind of knew that I could maybe do it. And then I would play on the Hesher's kit that was downstairs, and it was like, oh, you can like kind of do this. So I was really interested in it, really invested in it, and the lessons really did help me, even though I think they didn't. Like at the time, I was like, it's like fucking old jazz rocker guy who doesn't understand. But there are the rudiments and the things that he taught me. I never dove into them academically, and I never was like, I never had that hyper focus. Like I was more interested in being in a band, and I was less interested in like being a drummer. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, completely.
It does.
But it was more interesting to me to like play to people and to like meet people and be around and be like this 12-year-old who was like, everyone's like, how old are you? Like that. In retrospect, I think that like appealed to me. I didn't know what an ego was, but I'm sure it like stoked my little one.
Yeah, I have pretty similar experience with the family thing. Which, dude, it's funny is like you kind of in a nice way answered like the next couple questions of like. I like to ask people if they were more of like a necessity drummer, like if there was just a spot and that was the thing, question. And if you grew up in a musical household. So your brother was a big catalyst.
Both are true. Both are yes. Both are the answer is yes. I mean, like my parents were, hip. They had good records. And were in retrospect very like actively trying to like show us good music. And I think, and my father was had a great collection. I mean, like he had, all the classics. He had Dylan and Beatles and, all that stuff. And it was very, very common and accustomed to sort of listen to a record, sit and listen to a record at whatever time, but also to have music playing I always have music playing when I make dinner. So this is like an eat dinner. This is like a thing for me. My wife is like, turn the fucking music down. I'm ADHD, so that I think is part of it. But right, aren't we all?
Drummer, I think, most drummers. Yeah.
Like literally everybody. But anyway, like so we would put on a cassette of whatever, like whatever contemporary shit in the '80s that was like that parents or boomers of that age would listen to. Like the Gracelands and the Brothers in Arms, Dire Straits, and these kind of now in retrospect, like So by Peter Gabriel, these sort of seminal 80s kind of records that like I think that bubbled to the top because they're parents of 3 kids, and as a person who has 1 kid, you're like, what the fuck is going on? I have no idea what's happening. So they had these little this little stack of cassettes that they would play a lot, and I think that like that. You only know this in retrospect, and you only know it by hearing other musicians like talk about how they were brought up.
Right?
It's like down the middle. I feel like there's like the me kind of people who like grew up with a lot of stuff around, access to a lot, and then people that had nothing, like people that had no parents that were not into music at all, that had to really hit the bricks and discover it. And then I think there's like some level of discovery inherent in becoming a punk or a punk or a hardcore fan or person. But I also had 2 brothers that also did that footwork too. Like they were both punks.
Were they are you the youngest of the 3?
I am, I'm the baby.
So what do you remember some of the first punk records they brought home that kind of grabbed your attention?
Yeah, I remember them. I just remember them being like, I'm not ready for that shit. Like no fucking way. But I do remember I don't remember which one had the Rev New York hardcore, the way it is comp, like which is, we all know it and love it, but they had the cassette, and then whoever bought it was given the poster, like the Rev had the horizontal posters you could put up there, because I had the bold one, I had the way it is one, and my way it is one was my brother got. And I remember being like looking at that poster, which was on the wall. So there's this giant picture of this mayhem, um, and hearing it and being like, nah, this is not fucking music. This is bullshit. Like, but like also being kind of scared of it. It just seemed like it seemed, I knew in my bones I wasn't ready for whatever the hell that was. And I also knew that it was like deeply underground and potentially sinister, fucking vibe coming from that record. Yeah, but they also had like Dead Kennedys and Circle Jerks and like all these like sort of. And then my middle brother got really, really into the Misfits. I think he was really into the Misfits, like early.
Like eye paint into the Misfits.
No, but blonde Devil Lock.
Okay.
Into the Misfits. Like people throwing baseball bats at him from, because we were townies, man. We literally grew up in, South Shore. I always grew up in Plymouth, which is like, 40 miles south of Boston. And nobody was, even in 1989 or whatever the hell, he was like deeply into that shit. It was like, nobody's ready for that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's funny, the first, I'm going to ADD the hell out of both of you.
Please do. I love this.
Yeah.
But like the first punk rocker I ever laid eyes on was friends with my oldest brother, and he's the same age as my oldest brother in high school, from Plymouth, is John Kozik, who is one of the original members of Anal Cunt.
Wow.
And like which I didn't even fucking know until like years later. And I knew about AC. I knew, of course, they were like, fucking notorious. But like John was like a founding member of that band. And I was like, he was so sweet to me. I was like 9, like my son's age, met this crazy looking dude who equally loved the Misfits in equal measure, like had the Devil Lock and the whole shebang. And I remember just driving around with him and my brother in 1989 or whatever it was, and him being like, "Do you want a cookie?" He had a cookie with him or something. I just remember being really nice.
Well, dude, most of those like crazy band name like death metal dudes are always like the sweetest people.
Yeah,
it was very sweet,
but
it also like, I think unconsciously centered me and made me know and made me realize that like these were outsiders that were also very gentle. Like a lot of them were very gentle and very sweet, and like,
yeah, it's like you don't have to act like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's okay to look a certain way, and then you kind of juxtapose. It's always surprising whenever I see that.
It's a lot of stay away from me. Everyone I don't want to be associated with, please stay away from me. But everyone I do want to be associated with and feel comfortable with, here's my beacon. It's a fucking full head to toe banana town. Like, and like, come, that, and that's how, like, it's cliche to be like the old man being like, we found each other. We had no internet, but it's true. Like we would, like you go to the mall and you see the one kid with a Slapshot shirt. You're like, fuck that kid. All right, he's my friend now. Like right. You're friends with them.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was the network, for lack of a better word, of a way to do it. And it was more genuine. It was definitely more brave. I think it was like categorically braver to just get out there and fly your flag.
Right.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I grew up in a really small town in upstate New York, and it was definitely like me and a handful of other dudes that had like blue mohawks and leather jackets, and it took a lot of abuse. I mean, this is the mid to late 90s. I would have been like 18 in 99, so like those years leading up to that were pretty brutal.
Even with the sort of explosive nature of like the Nirvana and post, like where the jocks that would kick my ass the year before knew who the Red Hot Chili Peppers were the year later, like that. Yep. Like that turnover for me, because I was like right in that age. I'm a little older, I think, than you guys, but it was like right in that time was like I discovered this was my tribe. I discovered this is the kind of music I liked. And to me, punk meant a lot. It was a very, very diverse and wide spectrum of things. It wasn't just like, the Way It Is comp was like the needle was way in the red for that motherfucker. But the Red Hot Chili Peppers were still there. Like they were still on that spectrum. I don't care what anyone says, because they went so the other way. But at that time, if you had like a Red Hot Chili Peppers shirt, and you walk by a jock, they were like, "What the fuck is that?" And they would use the F word. The FAG word was so prevalent back then.
Yep.
You get called that immediately, right? And as a shy person, as a kind of diminutive in soul, like those people really scared the shit out of me, And like next year, Under the Bridge comes out, or two, whatever, next year and a half, Under the Bridge is the biggest fucking song in the world. Give it away, you can't get away from it.
Yep.
And then they're like, "Oh, one literally was said, like, oh, you remember that shirt that I fucking made fun of you for? Like, I got that tape. It's fucking great." And just like
the accent.
Cool, man. Like, like I'm safe, but also I hate you.
Yeah. We would get, hey, Green Day.
Yeah. Green Day was another, that was another crazy thing. But it was just, to watch it in real time was my thing. It was just like, because it was right at the cusp. I was like, probably made my fucking line in the sand in like 91, where I was like, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. And this is my tribe. And then fast, like literally a month later, Nirvana, who we had like, I remember my brother's girlfriend, another eat punker, brought home this like DGC mix. Like they said, like gave you a free mix. She was at a show and she's like, they gave this out. And it had like, Sonic Youth and Teenage Fan Club and all the DGC like alternative bands. And Nirvana was the first song on it. Because I think DGC knew it was a great tune. And I remember all of us being like, this is really fucking good. Like, this is legitimately very good. Like, who is this? Nirvana? Like, who's this? And then it was like a month later.
Yeah.
2 months later.
It's funny, too, at that point in everyone's lives, I would assume at least like a month or two seems like years.
No, it really did feel, yes. As a young child and a person, like, I think that, like, the time, man, not going to say it's a flat circle, but it's a flat something.
Right.
It's something like that really does change and morphs and makes decisions that you have no idea that it's making for you.
Yep.
And I think that when you're younger, it's certainly compressed in a way that is like right now, it's August. Like, remember when you were 12 and it was August? Like, that was a fucking countdown.
Yeah.
And that was a time. That was it was like you're reaching for it all.
Right.
And I think that and the fall was a distinct, and you guys did, Matt, did you grow up in Texas or did you grow up in Cali? Where'd you grow up?
Yes, I grew up in Texas. Yes.
Okay. So Texas didn't really have that sort of fucking wall that came down in the fall. I know it gets cool there.
Our winter starts in January.
Right. But Christian and I, fucking wall came down in the fall, and you were like waiting for that wall. You knew it was coming. And and like there was some seasonal thing that I think compresses everything. I think where you live. Yeah, but I also just think time does that to us. Anyway, like the Nirvana song, Jesus Christ, that was like legitimately good. And when it blew up, it was like, yeah, that's just a fucking good song. Like, it's just good. Like,
which song was that?
It was Smells Like Teen Spirit. It was
okay.
So that, anyway, this is very tangential, but like that time period, was very compressed to me. And it was like a, explosive time.
How old were you around that time? About
91, I was 12.
12. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was 11. So yeah, we're all about the same age.
Okay, yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah.
But that's
I'm 44. Matt's 45.
Oh Jesus, yeah, we're talking the same language.
Oh, exactly.
But I think the accelerant for me, because I know a lot of people that are my age that are in the punk that are like, yeah, I didn't discover it until I was like in high school, whatever. Like, that's a normal time to figure that shit out.
Yeah,
I should have been playing Little League. I should have been doing Boy Scouts. I should have been doing normal little kid things.
Right.
I was not a normal little kid by any stretch of the imagination. And like having older brothers that were punks, I always just hung out with older punks, and it was like that was who was around, and that was really who influenced my, worldview, I guess, or whatever. But it was those.
Similar to me, my older sister is 7 years older than me, and she was like super goth. when I was a kid, like 91,
Oh
90,
yeah,
89.
A lot of Cure posters on her wall.
Yes, Cure and everything. But she introduced
Yeah.
me to a lot of the music that, I mean, she listened to punk rock too. She was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I used to go to Descendants shows. And I was like, okay. But back
Wow.
then I didn't
Yeah.
understand the
So
significance
she's
of
about
it.
your age difference is like my oldest brother is about 7 years older than
Yeah.
me.
So I was
So
exposed
he,
to it, but I just didn't catch on to it back. I was just a little too early.
yeah, I wasn't ready. You weren't ready. Like it was
Right.
like, for this,
Well,
and I
that's
did
why I
my whole
asked.
phase,
Mhm.
my whole metal phase was very, very into metal.
Yeah.
I was really just doggedly into it. Like I loved like thrash metal and,
Yep.
Well,
you know,
and the reason I ask is I've seen a trend about that age whenever people kind of start figuring out what they like and what they're
yeah.
gonna, if they're, drummers, of course, what they're gonna play the rest of their life.
Right.
It's a that
Right.
age shapes them, and a lot of people we talk to are kind of in the same age, maybe a little older, but
Right.
around that same time when those bands came
Right.
out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
real formative for, and again, it's like real, just a completely different vibe
Hmm.
Yeah.
than now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I could not agree more. I mean, I have just one sibling, my older brother. We're only 18 months apart, so like
Mhm.
we grew up playing in the bands together. But like we
Oh,
had a
cool.
friend, he had a friend
Yeah.
a little older than him, so we had this little crew, dude. I was gigging at, I think my first gig, I was in 13 or 14. They like bring me
Cool.
in through the back door, walk me up to
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
drums, and walk
Yeah.
me right back
Right.
out. And it's such a wild thing, dude. Is
Sure.
my oldest is 13 now. And I'm
Wow.
like, the things we were doing at your age, like
Yeah, no, I
it
mean
was,
that's the other thing. It was like it was kind of this free for all parenting style too.
Mhm.
That was just sort of like, well, he's with his older brother, so you should just go
grow up quick. I do
do
think
whatever.
as cliche as it sounds and as many people sound it, I do feel like there is a level of like, it's going to find you. Like, I don't think a lot of us had the option. I think punk and hardcore were just sort of like destined to like latch onto us in a weird way.
Yeah,
I couldn't really imagine my childhood being any other way. And, baseball was there. My dad was a coach. I
yeah,
didn't care. I just wanted to play music and listen to music and just absorb every bit of album cover artwork. And just,
totally.
it's
Yeah,
wild how that works.
And
yeah.
that
I think
was the
that's
same for me
very
because I lived
similar.
in middle of nowhere, Texas, so it did find me. I
Right,
had nothing.
right.
So Nick, did you have like a local record shop, or were you just kind of taking it all in from your brothers?
No, I mean we had 40 miles away. We had Boston, so we were and we had groovy parents that would take us to Boston every once in a while, and then we or drop us off at the nearest train station, and we would just go. We go in. Braintree is like the nearest
Yeah.
red line stop. So
Oh yeah, dude.
we'd go up and get dropped off in Braintree. And it was another thing was like my parents, we would make a pilgrimage around the holidays, I think, to go just like shopping and we spent more time in Harvard Square than we did in like the city. But we would go to Harvard Square, and Harvard Square at that time had had Newbury Comics, which at the time was like the place to get anything. It was like Newbury Comics in 1988, 1989 was in a place called the Garage, which was like a mall, but it was this sort of open air mall, and it's still there. But I walked through it like last week or 2 weeks ago, and I was really depressed because there was like nothing there anymore.
Yeah, dude.
But at the time, it was like there was Alston Beat, which was like the punk rock outfitter. Like they had leather jackets and zero boots and all these like docks and really cool clothes, and they were super expensive. But my brother got his first leather jacket
irony,
there.
right?
Well, my brother's got his first leather jacket there, and then my middle brother got his leather jacket there, and then by the time I needed a jacket, I don't think I wanted a leather jacket. But Newbury Comics had everything. It was all the bootleg shirts and LPs and cassettes and comics. And it was a lot of the store was devoted to comic books. But by '89, I think they had got the memo that people go there from all kinds of regional spots, greater Boston, and get records. So we would go there when it wasn't records at the time, but it was cassettes. We would get cassettes there, and that was kind of the place where we could go and find the weird shit, and like. But there was also like secondhand record stores all over the place, but we weren't quite like, we were young. We were just like, we just wanted to hear what was new.
Right.
But that was a golden era. We had Second Coming, we had Record Hog, we had all these great, in Cambridge too. So Cambridge has just always been this insane bastion of
Yep.
cool record stores. But yeah, we would go to Newbury Comics and find that shit. And then once in a while, you'd go in Plymouth, you'd go to like the fucking sporting goods store that had a little pile of records, and you'd find like, Pixies record or something, or a Bad Brains record, and be like, whoa,
Yep.
But it was really, the pilgrimage was really the key. It's like to go to Newbury Comics.
Right. Well, dude, let's jump into like, how did you? I mean, I know I think I try to make these artful ways of asking questions, but fuck it. How did you meet the dudes in Bane? Like, how did you come together with everybody?
I loved Bane. I was like a super, super fan of Bane. So I met them because I was this redhead, gregarious psycho who just didn't have any filter, No, but I would like go bananas at their shows. I'd stage dive, and I was, toot my own horn. I was a pretty good nimble stage diver when I was like 16 years old. Could do some stuff. Can't do the stuff anymore, but at the time,
Now it's a stage fall.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, right. I would have to be pushed, but it was always so fun to see Bane in particular. And then when Bane came along at a time when like Massachusetts hardcore, like regional hardcore, we had a really good stable. Like we had a really good stable of bands. That eventually all went kind of national and international, and so Bane was the side project of Aaron, who was in Converge, who had just sort of reunited. Converge had sort of broken up in '94. And then I got to see them play their reunion show in '95, and they just fucking blew the doors off the place. They blew the doors off the place. They still blow doors, but this was like, I'd never heard anything like it. I'd never seen people go that bananas. And then he just ended up being like a super friendly person, just going back to being friendly, like John Kozik giving me a cookie. Like Aaron Dahlbeck gave me the proverbial cookie. He was very nice, very personable, and, just psyched to know kids that liked his music. And he just was like, yeah, we're playing this show. We're going to go here. We're going to do this. He was just very friendly, and so we got to be friends. And I was in a band in high school. I was in two bands in high school. One called Rise Again, which was more of like a metal, metal-y core kind of thing. Well, the first band I was ever in was called Time Will Tell, and that was with my brother and his friends. And that was very, hang up your boots, fucking skinhead inflected, like hardcore, but it was hardcore, but through like the whatever the hell we knew, which was like Boston hardcore, which is like a lot. Slapshot Red ruled the roost at that point. So that was like where we were coming from. Then Rise Again, which was more metally, kind of stuff, and then that broke up, and then I was in a band called Close Call. And Aaron had seen Rise Again, and he was very sweet about our little teenage asses like going bananas. But then Close Call was more traditional, kind of speedy, early 80s type hardcore, and which I still adore to this day. I think that's a great band, unsung band. And Aaron really dug it. Like, he was really sweet and like really, really genuinely, like, we played a few shows with Bane and he loved it. And, and he was going to put out a 7-inch, a split 7-inch with our buddy band called Get High, who were amazing, kind of DC influenced, like hardcore. And those guys ended up being all, the drummer is the drummer for the Dropkick Murphys, and he's Matt Kelly.
Oh, right.
The singer, Kevin, is now the bass player of the Dropkick Murphys. He was the tech for a while. Derek plays he plays reggae all over town and all over like east, eastern seaboard and up in the northeast. Like, all these guys that went on to like do a lot of cool shit. Anyway, tangents, ADD.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to add.
Aaron saw Close Call, really dug it, and that's how I met Aaron. And then they needed a drummer for, and they had kind of plowed through two. Damon was the original drummer, and he was in Converge, and he decided he wanted to focus on Converge. And then Ben, who was in 10 Yard Fight, was like, wanted to focus on 10 Yard Fight. So it was just this kind of, they had these like temporary guys, and they did. But now that I think about it, I'm like, can you just stop asking guys that are in other bands to like,
Yeah, right.
to like, maybe that's your problem. You're just asking guys in other bands. It's like, but he asked me he's like, hey, we need a drummer for this tour that's coming up. We're doing our first. And I just adored Bane so much that I was like, fuck yeah. Like that's my favorite.
Was it intimidating, like being a fan and then being asked to step
A
behind?
little bit. Like I think I had a little stars in my eyes, but Aaron was so nice that it was like, it just kind of was like, oh, this is what hardcore is like. You meet guys that, and I think this is what it's like anyway in life. Like you have the chance to like know people you really adore and respect on another level, then they're just people. Like they're just, you're like, oh, this is this person, like I have a reason. I'm collaborating. We're like doing work together. So
Right.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, like he saw me play with Close Call. He's like, you're the guy. Like I want you to try out, and we plowed through because I knew the song. I had played them on my own and just kind of really been a fan. And it's just sort of instinctually was the right spot for me at the right time. So he was like, yeah, you got it, man. Like all we got to do is play with Zach and see what he thinks. But I'm sold.
Zach, he whipped me in the eye with his Jankos back in the day.
Yeah,
that
was his move. That was his Mortal Kombat move. That's how he got you.
He finished me.
Lucky you didn't take your spine out.
Yeah, right. Well, I did want to add real quick too is like the importance. I know that Aaron Dolbeck's not insanely older than you, right? Just a couple years, probably.
No, he was only. I mean, he seemed it at the time, but he's only like 4 years older.
Froze up on my end.
It was. Oh, shit.
It'll occasionally do this. It'll do it like one time and then it'll be done. He can hear everything you're saying. He just freezes.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know why only him freezes, but
Christian froze. I
apologize.
I don't know why.
I asked the question and then it froze up, but
I can edit that out.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll ask again of like Aaron Dolbeck's just a couple years older than you, right?
Yeah, he's only like 4 years older than me. But at the time, he seemed like like
that's the
full-grown adult, which he was not.
The importance of those people in the scene, even though they're only a couple years older, that take you under the wing and show you it's incredible. And it's so cool that that you can end up being on that, like literally just in a band with them. Like that lack of.
He had all this motivation. I mean, it was that he still has it. I mean, I think he's a very like driven guy, but it was like he just wanted to put the pieces together that really worked, and that didn't necessarily like it sort of hit all the buttons of like cool. Like this isn't like the cool guy we're getting. This isn't like the scene guy we're getting. We're not trying to put together, because Bane was like this side project that he could have fucking it was his, and he could have put together whoever he wanted and have it be this sort of like flashy thing. But what he did was, I think, kind of brilliant. He did the opposite, because his Converge was a big deal, even in 1995 or whenever Bane started. Regionally, Converge was fucking huge, and they were getting bigger every day, and they kept putting records out. They were better and better and better, So to have him be at the helm of something, everybody was looking, and everyone was watching him. But what he decided to do was get like pull out of retirement, of course, right? This is Aaron Bedard, the singer who was in a band called Backbone, who was another like just about 4 or 5 years earlier unsung regional band. Who, like, if you loved them, you loved them. They were so cool and unique. And it was cool and unique because he was the singer. Like his style is still.
Never heard another voice like that.
Never heard another voice like that. And I got to tell you, like, that is I don't know if that's a everywhere thing, but that is fucking certainly a Boston thing. Is like, you fucking point out to me from the years like, I don't know, 1986 to 1993. You fucking lay every band out on the table. None of those singers fucking sound the same. None of them. And Bedard is no exception. Like, he had his own thing and he had his own way. Still, and got him out of retirement. I got this guy that only, only like a handful, a couple hundred people in Boston would be like, oh, fuck yeah, they got Bedard out of retirement. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like this little hush, like, oh, Backbone singers, like, because Backbone played a reunion show that was supposed to be said and done. Backbone, Eye for an Eye, maybe Kingpin Dive, with all these bands that had broken up, that were like these seminal regional bands that everybody my age fucking adored. Nobody showed up. Fucking Dive was the only band, and Backbone was the only band that were like the only old guard bands that played. Dive was great, but Backbone fucking killed it. Like, they fucking killed it. So like Aaron, who's like, all right, like, I'm gonna ask this guy, That's a brilliant thing, I think. He just kind of found, and Zach and Pete, like, they kind of came as a package, but Pete's one of the best fucking hardcore bass players I've ever played with, or no, And Zach is such a unique guitar player, so fucking nimble and good, and they're all weird, like all these weird people coming together to make this very unique pastiche, to make this very unique, kind of like, it to layman's ears, it just sort of sounds like, drop D, heavy chugga chugga. But it wasn't. It had melody and had depth to it, that lyrical depth, and songwriting was really cool. And so I love. I mean, just like that just hooked me like immediately. The demo just hooked me hard.
Yeah.
So I still listen to it, and I think this is probably one of the greatest like pieces of hardcore art to come out of Massachusetts, like maybe ever. Like one of the greatest. It's in the top. It's in the top list, top 10 for me.
So one of my coworkers at the tattoo shop, Mel, we actually like used to go to shows, and it's funny too, because I think everyone's memory of things are different. So like, as I was prepping for this, because I remember Bane coming in and just like, it was unlike anything that was happening, at least in our period at that time. Hardcore was getting like really, really violent. It was getting slower, and coming from like more of like the punk rock side of things for me, like, dude, the first time I still get like, dude, I'm kind of goosebumping up now, but like when I heard Speechless live for the first time, I thought I was going to puke and shit and pee at the same time. I was just like, what is happening?
Jesus Christ, I'm sorry.
No, in a good way. In the
That's
best
why I
way
don't go to
possible.
shows with him.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Is this one of the songs you're going to play? Are you going to
It is.
defecate on your own podcast?
But so I asked Mel, I was like, dude, like it was pretty much maybe not the way I described it, but it was that impactful for everyone. It wasn't just me remembering it that way. I think everyone in the scene remembers it just being like, what is this? It's so different. So the question leading up to the worst way for me to word something ever was,
Hold on, put a pin in that. I'm going to open this door because I'm hot. And this is my porch is right here.
Go for it.
See my pajama pants.
You look comfortable.
I am. I'm cozy.
I wear swim shorts all the time.
That's not even
they're
wearing
comfortable.
pants. So.
Well, it's cold up here, so it's chilly now.
Oh, it's like 105 or something here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, my brother lives in Austin, and he's always 97 again.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
So, were you guys aware, like in that moment, like that what you were doing was just so fucking just unique and different and impactful, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that and I think this goes back to like the whole point of like the whole point of like trying to put yourself in the immortality zone by like making your music and putting it out there. And what I mean by immortality zone is like it's going to live there forever, like in some format, a lot way after you're dead. So you get to live forever. Like if it's God willing, you get to live forever. But you better fucking, like, in my opinion, and I think unsung and unspoken at the beginning, even when I joined Bane, this is the kind of person I've always been and how I've always viewed it, is just like, you better fucking bring it. You better bring it with all of your heart and your soul, and you better make something that you like more than anything else. Make something you like, right? Because I do think, and this is true genre, it's like if we're talking about genre music of any kind, like in this particular setup, we're talking about hardcore, right? We're talking about a very finite board of buttons that people feel like they need to push in order to make it work. And sadly and unfortunately, since probably the beginning, Black Flag days, people have been just pushing the fucking buttons, right? And there's enough people out there that are like, thanks for the buttons, right?
Yeah.
But what you really want to do, if you're really into it, if you're really a musician, and I'm not trying to disparage motherfuckers who push the buttons and got anybody that's a musician is my brother or my sister, anyone, right? If you're out there making music, you are my brother, you are my sister, always, right? But for me and for the guys in Bane, and again, this is kind of unspoken, I think, it was spoken later, was that we were all coming from like something that was very visceral and emotional. So just even in the surging songwriting, I think we have some like if you like listen to Zach's and Aaron's guitar interplay, like very sweet and very pretty. A lot of it is very sweet and pretty. You know, they were very like they were kind of painting a little bit within the confines of the hardcore song, with some colors that maybe people weren't used to or hadn't, maybe they expected something and got that, and they didn't realize that they were, you know what I mean? It was just a little bit like
Absolutely.
a little bit of a bait and switch, But also I think like, again, going back to Aaron's voice, it put a lot of people off. Like, look, like Bob Dylan puts a lot of people off. Like you're sort of like, you're either in it or you're not. You're going to fucking take the ride or you're not going to take the ride. So I know a lot of people that were like, fuck, hey, that's not good because of the singer. You're like, okay, like you're not one of us then. That's fine. Like you don't get it. Like, but his delivery and the way he sang and the phrasing that he chose, a lot of those things, it's just one of those click kind of things where we loved it. Right. And I think that's the important lesson. We're all very young and naive, and we were just bop, 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 it's going, so we didn't have much think time. But what I do know is that how we felt. And we felt like we were doing like cool shit that we wanted to hear, and for me personally, because you're talking to me, for me personally, like I wanted to take the fucking template and fucking smash it on the ground. I wanted to take the button machine and fucking smash it. Like I wanted to do something where new ground was tread, where new voices got to be heard, where new words were spoken. And like, I don't know that I quite knew it, but if the fire in me told me that was what was, now looking back, that's what I was doing. And I know the other guys shared that just by the fact, like there's so much in unspoken stuff, and musicians really do get the distinct and honorable privilege of communicating with each other from the intensity of stage. So like we communicated with each other like we were born to do this. I mean, I think we all were. And I think that the impact that you felt at some show in Albany, that was true for us every night. I mean, we really were like, if it was a good show, like you probably saw a really good show of ours, because it wasn't like that every single night, but we tried our fucking best to bring it every time we played. And we tried our fucking best to write songs that were a little bit like the needle moved left, just a little, like we won't fucking alienate everybody. We didn't really know how. Like we knew what we liked. Like my record collection has some weirdness in it, but that didn't look like that shit back then, right? There was a finite amount of shit that was influencing us. I don't know if that answers your question, but it was like we were really devoted to the intensity and really devoted to moving things forward in a way that was spoken and unspoken, but I think it was more unspoken,
Right.
And we fucking meant business. Like when we brought it when we played, we meant fucking business. And
well, I think that the thing that made that more noticeable, I mean, you know, obviously keep in mind too, I was young going to these shows, and I'll never name names. You know, I don't believe in that stuff, but there were a lot of bands that would play that would come through town.
Metallica. Let's just fucking put it out there.
No, but like they'd have these speeches between songs, and every night on the ride home, we're all like making fun of them because it didn't seem genuine. Aaron was pretty much the only dude that would get up there and talk between songs that I believed. Like the things he said, like I fucking was like, this dude means it. And that's it's a rare thing to come across. And I think that was a big part of it. He
was a born wordsmith and a born orator. And he's one of the smartest people I know. Aaron, I love you. And you're a smart man. You know, like, and I think what he did was genius. I think like the music itself was very soul bearing. We were sort of just, that was where we were coming from. And I think he wasn't always like that. And I think he matched it with his own feelings from stage. He matched the sort of soul-bearing nature of the music with what he had to say. And none of that was like we sat in the van and we're going to make this intentional statement. Like we never talked ever about that shit.
Yep.
But we kind of knew. Collectively, we kind of knew if the vibe was off, we had this fucking guy who was just going to go out there and, you know, call it, you know, and sort of that, but also just like, yeah, I think the platitudes that a lot of, especially hardcore bands, especially fucking straight edge hardcore bands, are you fucking kidding me? The platitudes that they get into, you fucking kidding me? Get out of here. Like, say something real or get the fuck off the stage. That's it's all we had to, we all felt it, you know. He just happened to be one of the most eloquent and articulate fucking orators ever. Yeah. And he just fucking, he did it. And I, you know, like I sat behind them drums and I cried many times from things that he had to say.
Beautiful. Yeah.
You know, and because I was right there with all y'all who were getting their minds blown. I was getting my mind blown too, sure. Like back there, I was blowing my own mind. I was on stage.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too. Is you know, while we're here, I mean, that was a big reason why I can't speak for Matt necessarily in this particular instance. Why I wanted to do this, because I think that in any sort of like whatever underground music scene that you want to call it, there's so many important people, and I wanted to be able to like kind of create a format where we could, even if it's on a smaller level, like for lack of better terms, like give people their flowers, so to say. Nice. I have a good friend who's an amazing drummer, Mike Putz.
Wait, am I getting flowers?
You're getting flowers.
Are they in the mail?
Well, we just got Aaron his flowers, but I text Mike earlier. Because we grew up going to shows together, and I asked him if he had any questions for you, and he did the thing I often do, where just made a statement instead of a question. But so he saw you once in Siena, and you made him realize how important it was to be solid, hit hard, and follow the music. And it followed that by, it doesn't mean by any chance that you were a simple drummer, but you played what was necessary and what fit the music. So you inspired a lot of other drummers, man. I was always a straightforward thing, but some of those shuffles and the shit that you were doing, man, it was definitely like mind blowing to us. So there's your flowers, man. You had
that's so nice.
Drumming had a big impact.
Thanks to him for that. That's very sweet. Yeah, it's nice to hear sweet things. I don't care. Like, fucking bring it on, dude.
The older you get, man, I don't care who I'm talking to. My friends, I always say I love you when I get off the phone, and they some people can't say it back, and that's fine. I know. That's
another factor, I think, for me, like getting into Bane, was like how sweet they were to each other. And it was like, and so meeting Zach, he was, you know, he's just a fucking gregarious maniac who I love with all my heart. And like, at first, I think he and I were sniffing each other out like these dogs. And I think he thought I was, you know, because I represented maybe this like part of like Boston at the time, like Boston hip, you know, hardcore. Because I lived in Boston. I was at every show. I like knew, you know, like, you know, I was like a fucking scenester, like, to be perfectly honest. And I think like he saw that and was like, what the fuck, man, we getting this like I was going back to what I was saying earlier, the button pushing. I think he felt some fucking buttons were being pushed, and he didn't like it. You know, immediately we played one song. He had a new song. It's called "Fuck What You Heard," which is the first song on the first record. He had that song in the bag, and he was like, "All right, motherfucker, like if you play this, like you know," and he didn't say that, but it was like, "I have this new song," you know, because we went through some of the demo songs, and you know, like with Aaron, I did that, and we did that, and it just was like, fuck, like it just fucking, you know, I know he was like, oh, okay, and and I'm sitting next to, and this is, you know, this is heavy shit, man. I'm sitting next to our friend Steve Neal, who tragically passed away when Bane was on tour. Was a pivotal, life changing, just completely fucked up thing that happened to us when we were on tour. I'm sitting next to this motherfucker who is an astonishingly good drummer, really good. By all rights, Steve should have been in Bane, like by all rights. But at the time, Bane was a straight edge band. I happen to be straight edge, right? So I think there was a little resentment around that as well. But that immediately went away. He and I are the most kindred of kindred spirits, like have the same fucking wild sense of humor. Like if you want to quote fucking Spaceballs, The Naked Gun, fucking like whatever.
That's me too.
Yeah, no, I mean these are my people, right? This is like this is the fucking real shit. If you can riff with them, like that was Zach, you know. So I think Zach had a lot to say in that time, but his Worcester friends, who I met immediately after that, we're all in a band called Barrett with him, and then in Cartridge Funeral, and they're really this core group of dudes that you've probably maybe met if you've been to a Bane show in the last 25 years. Yeah. Like those guys kind of come around, you know, on tour and stuff, and they were just so fucking sweet to each other. And Barrett played a show and with Bane, and there was always this big cathartic kaboom when they played. And they were crying. Someone was moving away to college. I forget what was happening, but they were really, really emotional. And I just remember that being like, these are my people. I was a very, and still am a very like my heart on sleeve, very emotional person. To see that and to see no artifice and to see no fucking swagger at all, and to see them openly crying on the street in front of the space in Worcester, that was my ticket. That was my thing. Like, this guy's great. These people are incredible. Like, these are by no means, these guys do not care about the scene. They do not care about being cool. They just are in it for friendship and companionship and music. And I come on, man. I was like, you know, that was like, okay, yeah. I made the right choice. Like, things are cool. But that was the thing that they were very open about. Like, it was a catharsis. They were very, very like, and I just was right there. Right.
That's great, man. I would like to ask you, like, the writing process for All Comes Down to This. Did you guys like kind of work through those songs together in a room, or?
Yeah, it was a lot of me. All Comes Down to This was a lot of me and Aaron Dahlbeck. You know, Zach and Pete were in college, so they were out in Western Mass, which wasn't too far, 2 hours away. But on a weeknight, you know, Aaron was in town. Like we would hammer out a lot of stuff. So a lot of the pieces of those songs are me and Aaron.
Okay.
The ones that stick out to me that aren't particularly like the ones that's kind of Zach brought into the room, because when he would come, it would be like, all right, Zach's got a couple things, you know. So those to me like really stick out on that record. But a lot of it was me and Aaron hammering it out, you know, and then kind of showing the guys, and then things would often change and morph, and you know, you'd engineer things to fit together. You guys know how it goes. It's just everybody gets in there and has their little bit to say and make it better usually, or make you see it how you didn't see it before. So that was happening, but primarily the backbone of those songs was really me and Aaron.
In recording that was your first time without his name's escaping now.
Brian
Tiernan.
Yeah,
right?
Well, I had never recorded with Brian in any capacity.
Oh, okay.
But those guys had done the demo and the first 2 7-inches with Brian. So he was like, and you know, his studio was kicking out some of the fucking best, like not even just the best hardcore, but the best indie rock, some of the best stuff of the early mid 90s.
So how was
the
the recording process? We'll jump forward to that. Like, was it a memorable experience?
It was weird. I mean, we all have a lot to say about this. I feel a lot has been said about it, but we went with Steve Austin, who was the main guy behind Today Is the Day, who at that time had this, Relapse had put out his like third record or something, and among the sort of tangential folks that we all knew in Boston, the Converge and then the ISIS guys and those kind of people, like Today's the Day was just the best band. Like everyone was just so enamored of Today's the Day, with good reason. Well, hold on one second.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm doing it down here. My family's here.
I know my wife
totally
just called me. I'm like, doop.
They were enamored of that band. Like they just could do no wrong, and not with good reason. I feel like it's the name of the record is escaping me, but it's the pentagram with all the sperms around it. Which is like their first Relapse record. It's fucking cool. It's a really cool record, and it kind of moved the heavy music genre a little bit to the left to center, which I can think everybody's always craving, always,
Right.
But Steve Austin then recamped to Clinton, Mass, and started going out with a friend of a friend of a friend and this girl we all knew, and so he's kind of was in the network a little bit. So he produced a Converge record, When Forever Comes Crashing, I think was the record.
Okay.
At Kurt's basement studio, Kurt Ballou's basement studio. Anyway, they were having a great time with him. Like they were having like a really good time with him. And Aaron was like, we should record with Steve. We should do this with Steve. And I think all of us being like, okay, like, I mean, we liked Today's the Day and, thought, well, if things are coming out good for Converge, then shit, yeah, like, let's do it. We didn't really know. We were pretty naive. And we demoed with him, and it didn't really, it sounded better than the LP, but it didn't sound great. Like I was sort of like, well, this sounds okay. And it didn't blow me away, but it was like, he can record a band. Like, it. And I think it kind of just unraveled a little bit because of I think the typical categories or the typical things that make a debut punk and hardcore record bad, were all in play. Like, one of them being like a producer who was an awesome weirdo and had like a massive knowledge of music and made his own weird stuff and was in heavy music. Didn't quite get it. Like, I don't think he really understood what we were like doing, and not in a nefarious way. He just didn't get it. He just was like, cool, man, this is heavy, it's cool, it's not my thing. Never said that, but I could tell. And then we were rushing ourselves.
Like time is money kind of thing.
Time was money, but also we had a tour booked. We were a touring band.
Oh yeah.
We were like, we do this shit on stage. This is, like Fugazi says, the record's the menu, the concert is the meal, or whatever it is. Like, that was us for sure. Absolutely for sure. So we had a tour booked, and that was breathing down our necks. We had to get it done by the time we had to, we were supposed to leave. We were only going away for like 2 weeks, So there was a lot of things at play, forces at play, that I don't think we knew how to say no to, or how to turn the wheel,
right,
take a left turn. We didn't know how, which is very typical. And we were so deep into it, it just felt, it was gut wrenching to continue and listen to it be bad, but it was also gut wrenching to think that we just had to stop and scrap it. Like,
right.
We didn't want our own Chung King Can Suck It. Like, we didn't want that, we didn't. I mean, and we knew that was like that was the benchmark. It was like, fuck, we're making a Chung King right now.
Yeah.
And we just did it. We put it out. We powered through. We were dogged and we were workers. So we just were like, let's do the work.
Yeah.
And although the audio quality may not have been quite where it was, it still had some. I mean, dude, Can We Start Again was like
It gave us Can We Start Again.
It was the arm hair stander out of the.
It gave us "Can We Start Again," so I cannot complain about that record because we were touring like dogs, and that shit just hit the right people at the right point.
Yeah. Now, is there something maybe that just came out about that record that you might want to talk about?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we remixed it and remastered it, so I feel like we've been kind of vindicated because Returning ended up
so good from when as soon as you told me about that, I got off the phone with you and I went immediately listened to it, and it didn't even.
It really does sound good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Different record entirely. And I ate and beat it like you told me to. And I was like, holy shit. So I start texting all my friends. I'm like, go back and listen to this. It's a completely.
Yeah. I mean, good.
Yeah.
It vindicates so much. And I think go ahead. Sorry.
Just my one friend was like, the bass player, he was like, I never even noticed these bass parts. That were amazing too, like in the drums.
The Pete Chilton vindication was really my favorite part of the whole thing. Is he smokes on that record. He smokes on Give Blood too, and The Note, but he's on that record. He is fucking smoking, and like, there was no way to hear it before. And you just couldn't hear it. The frequencies were all bananas. It was like
it finally butts up. The Succession now makes it's a little bit more consistent, right? Which is it's awesome. Like it's no longer. When we spoke, I didn't choose any songs from that to sort of break down because I couldn't really make out what was going on enough to do so. And now, like, if I had more knowledge of this before this interview, I absolutely would have picked. I've been listening to it pretty much nonstop. So what was the? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I'm new to Bane, so I've only heard the remastered stuff. So it sounds great. I haven't A/B'd it yet.
You don't.
You gotta go, man.
Just don't do it.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. It's all there, but it's like. I hate disparaging it because I did have a good time and a good relationship with Steve, and I thought he was a character, and I thought he was very sweet, and I thought he just, I just think I don't know if that was a good time for him, and I can't speak for him, but it just didn't, and he put a record of his own out at that time called The Eyes of God, I think, was with the rhythm section from Mastodon. I mean, he had Bill and he had Braun from Mastodon as his guys, and they were living at the studio. In fact, they did backups on It All Comes Down to This. They were
no shit.
Talk about gregarious maniacs, man. Braun is just one of my favorite people. Still to this day, he's just one of my favorite guys. He's so sweet and funny and weird.
Sad to hear the passing of Brent today.
Yes, man. Jesus.
That's all that.
Again, I hate to say gregarious maniac again, but I only met him maybe once. He was just a very, very fun, funny, weird guy.
Yeah, man.
This is such a drag. It's such a fucking drag. But yeah, no, I mean, so he had the Mastodon rhythm section with him, and he fucking blew it. I mean, to be honest, it's just those guys were like, I can't take this unless they left. But they managed to record a record, and I remember listening to that record while we were about to do ours, and I was, doesn't sound that good. He was like, doesn't sound that good. So like but I didn't know enough to be like, hey, raise my hand and be like, hey, I'm the new guy, but it doesn't sound good, and maybe we shouldn't do this.
So this is
a position to be in.
Yeah, this is a little bit more my obsession here, but can you walk me through the gear that you were using at that time, or you're not really gear dude?
I recorded that record with my Black Pearl Export drum kit.
So I was wondering, were you using a brass snare?
No, actually, that was a little pork pie snare.
Little squealer?
Probably a little 12-inch guy, 12 by 6 orange. I still have it.
It sounds
you
huge.
Guys want it. But that was my snare. I thought it sounded great. I thought it was like a good, it was woody and it cut through, and it was good for hardcore. I thought for Close Call, I got it, and before I was even in Bane, and I was like, this rules. Like, I could really hear my snare.
Yeah.
And equally for Bane, who were like Mesa Boogie, warlords. Like those guys just fucking blow everybody's head off, and even a drummer gets buried. So for me, it was like just trying to stay above all that.
Were you using
snare.
just one up, one down, just two toms, or did you have
Two, yeah, 4-piece. So yeah, just a one rack
and then what were you going for cymbals back then?
I was really, I kind of was like this weird Luddite with my cymbals where I just wanted to have like two Zildjian rock crashes, like the old, like not the shiny, but like the whatever
patinaed
finish. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a 16 and an 18
Okay.
rock crashes. That was like my shit. Like the one I rode on was an 18 and the other was a 16.
Yeah.
They sounded fine. I don't think, but they broke a lot. Like I would break those a lot. And would just kind of roll through them. I can't even imagine doing that now because cymbals are so expensive. But,
dude, oh my god, yeah.
It's but I had my ride was just like the first ride I ever bought was a Sabian B8 ride.
That's what was on that record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's so funny, man. Like how much time I obviously can't speak for you guys, but how like we sort of nitpick, and once everything else starts getting added over it, the rest of the music, like. Yeah. It doesn't make that much of it.
I think that's proof. But I did like the sound of my B8 ride. I mean, it did ping pretty well, and the bell was great. So I was like, this is what a ride should sound like. I think.
What were you going? Kick pedal.
Oh, I think at that time I had a EW something or other, EW 2000, like the single chain one. That's the one I always used. It was just sort of like it worked for me, and like it didn't. I just wasn't fussy about it, and it was like cheap. So like I just was like, yeah, I had my first kick pedal was a Speed King, like a Ludwig.
Yep.
Which is
I've
cool
noticed a lot of drummers we talk to, they're just not real gear snobs, like if it works,
I think it was it was born out of necessity more than anything. It was sort of like, yeah, it sounds fine, and it didn't break, and I can tune it, and it really wasn't until like I got I had an endorsement later that I got like a custom kit, and I was like, whoa, this sounds really good. Like this is what drums should sound like.
Bit,
well, now I want to know about that.
Or I would play like somebody else's kit and be like, ooh, this is kind of what drums should sound like.
This sounds better than a Pearl Export series.
Pearl Exports do not sound that great.
That was my first real drum kit.
I got them sounding okay. But you have to understand, I was like 19, just like that was like a graduation gift or something. Like I didn't have any money. So
for my 18th birthday, I got a Iron Cobra, and I rolled that shit until I was 39 years old, and it disintegrated, and I just got a different Tama pedal. I got a Dynasty.
I just bought an Iron Cobra because I stupidly left a pedal at a show, and I was like, hey, is my pedal here? And they were like, no.
No.
I was like, okay, someone stole
I've been wanting to try
awesome.
one. I've never used one before that I
They're
can
pretty
remember.
Great. I'm like happy with the one I got. I think it's actually great.
I just bought the 9000, and I like it. It's just big. It's big and heavy,
Yeah.
So I went direct drive. I took the evil route and got rid of the chain and got a direct drive Dynasync Tama.
I don't know. Is that evil? Is direct drive inherent?
I don't know. But I love the longboard, so you can heel toe on it a little bit better.
Oh, I see.
It's a cool pedal, but so we're not here to talk about my gear. Sorry.
No, we're not. I'm glad you said something.
I know it's getting ridiculous. So the jump from All Comes Down to Give Blood, is there a huge transition? Where those were pretty close together, right?
Yeah. Yes. Again, with time being compressed and weird. We did I was only a band for 5 years. We did a fucking lot in that 5 years. We toured a lot. And we just grew a lot. And to go back to like the drum lesson thing, where like I feel like I absorbed a lot from the drum lessons, like and became I don't know if this is just me as a drummer, I think, but I got a lot better touring. I mean, playing all the time makes you better.
Right.
This is the way it is, so. But we all got better. We all kind of knew what we did and didn't want to do for the next record. Again, unconsciously maybe. Like there were some of those late night van conversations where like, because we were like, it was a drag to have a record that we just didn't sound great. And we knew we were really good. You know, it was like we knew we were good players. It wasn't like we knew, like, as a hardcore band we were like good, but like we're good players. Like we're young and good. Like people should hear it. You know, so it felt bad. It felt like a drag. You know, so we really wanted to bury it as soon as possible. Like we were given such a gift with the "Can We Start Again" business. We knew we were real touched. Like we were kind of blessed by that. But we knew we had to do a record that blasted. You know, it would just that you could hear everything, and it was just fucking punching record. So we just
y'all were too good, and
we knew that at least. We knew that at least.
Yeah. Everything needed to be heard clearly, and
and we were just we felt like we got like a fucking bill of goods by being because so many hardcore bands have this notorious shitty sounding record.
Right,
you know? Right. I remember everybody's talking about, Lifetime. Lifetime had two of the best records of the 90s, like, in my opinion. You know, they had Hello Bastards and they had Jersey's Best Dancers, two of the best fucking records of the 90s. Before that, everybody was talking about Lifetime, and everyone loved them. They were making people cry at shows, which is what I heard. But Background sounded like dog shit. I mean, Background sounded like raw-ass dog shit. And I remember being like, why does this sound like dog shit? I don't get it, you know? And then being like, oh, Youth of Today has a second record. And put on We're On This Alone. I'm like, this sounds like dog shit. Like, why is this happening? You know, like, you just don't get it. It's like you're a kid, you just don't get it. You're like, oh, man, they fucked that shit up. And then, like, it happened to us. I was like, why is it fucked? You know, like, is this some sort of curse?
So it's not intentional. It's just
it's a rite of passage.
It is.
If you survive it and you don't kill each other on tour, I do think it made us better. It just made us a better band, and we came out and Give Blood like better. I mean, we were just like, we were road weary, we were road dogs.
I was gonna say, you guys toured so much, we probably heard the stuff live more than we did on the fucking record at that point.
Yeah,
right. Like,
you know, and the It All Comes Down songs, like, we brought it live, man. Those were fucking intense songs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were really nuts. You know, and like yeah, and like I said, like, Can We Start Again? It All Comes Down gave us Can We Start Again, which is a real gift. We don't want to squander it.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, we didn't want to, we don't want to fucking, just have this lame history. You know, we wanted to have something that really blew us away.
Like, mission accomplished. Is that when the endorsement came?
Yeah, right before we recorded, I got that. And I think that was, I don't know how that happened. I think somebody I knew who knew somebody I knew was being endorsed by Spawn Drums, which was a small company out of Southern California. You know, their drums are they're really good drums. I mean, their drums are like, they're just this sort of like ostentatious, crazy pattern. You know, like, if you look at their website, you're like, holy shit.
Dude, I have a Coke bottle.
These drums are insane.
A 13 Coke bottle acrylic vented snare.
Oh, wow.
From them. It's
from them. How's it sound?
I don't think it sounds very good. I think it's probably more of a live drum, I would think.
The shells sounded great. They recorded really well. So I got my drums in Beltsville, Maryland when we arrived at Brian's studio. Like, they were in boxes. They got shipped there. And we had toured. You know, I had my old drums, or I think I borrowed drums. We played some fests or something. I knew I was getting new drums, so I had, I was excited.
Did you get to custom pick the sizes that you got?
Oh yeah.
What'd you go for?
Everything that those drums were, that was my choice.
You still have them?
Yeah, my guitar player, singer, one of my current bands just has them at his house, but
that's awesome,
because we don't have space for it. But yeah, they're still around. I've been playing them for years. They still sound great.
That's killer.
The rack tom and the floor tom sound insane. Like, and the kick drum records really well, but I don't think sounds super great in a room.
It's funny that drums are the weirdest instrument. Is they can sound great in a room and horrible under mics, or the other way around. It's wild. To find a kit that does everything well, I think, is a challenge. Honestly,
It's hard. I think you just there's a lot of like, and I don't want to clutter my life with a lot of drums, so I just sort of I was like the king of compromise. Hence me having fucking Pearl exports for too long.
I'll mix and match
Um,
sometimes when I record. I'll have two
yeah,
or three different brands because
yeah. I mean,
something
this
just
is
sounds
what people
better.
do.
Yeah,
This is what people do.
for
But
sure.
I certainly have like a little stack of snares now. That I've
Yeah, me
over
too.
years because never stopped playing drums. So I have a lot of shit.
I may have some stuff behind me there than
All my
hoarding.
stuff's in front of me.
Oh, you're yeah. Well, but so we really wanted to bury It All Comes Down. So and that was between It All Comes Down was like 99 and then 2001 was Give Blood. So not that long.
I mean, I think I know the answer to this question, but was a lot of the writing done on the road?
No, no.
Really? I'm surprised how much you guys were touring.
We were too fucking tired to do any of that. Our drives were, we were always on the road and we were always driving and we did things I would not recommend any band do. We just didn't want to stop. And, I think it didn't hurt us, but it certainly helped the, word of mouth and the momentum. And that's like and I'm a firm believer that any band who wants to do anything ever should do that. You just hit the fucking road.
Yep.
It was even true back in the SoundScan days. It's certainly true now.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't write on the road. We came home. We wintered. Those songs were like a winter project, because we were 2000. We did a big tour, and then we did a big tour of Europe. Our first tour of Europe, and we made a conscious decision. We said we're going to stay home. We're going to write. I remember we did like a mini tour maybe we did we always used to go to California in the winter. So maybe we did like a California thing, and someone got a call. It was like, "Oh, Sick of It All wants to take you out as an opener." And I think this was the first time where I was like, "All right, I've been in the band long enough." I was like, "No, I don't think we should do that." And I was joined a lot, like, because it was like the opening slot back then was like the pay wasn't super good, and and you'd probably be following a bus tour, which means like you're really grinding it out on the road. Like you're driving yourself. It's like overnights every night. It's kind of nuts. We all were like, "Whoa, Sick of It All!" Like we've been asking to play with them just in general. Like they're like gods. And we said no, and we decided we wanted to, because we were really determined to bury that record, and we really wanted to make a good record. So we were like, no, I think we decided collectively, I think it's a good idea to just like write, stay home and try to like spend some months writing. Zach and Pete were out of college, and we found like a cheap fucking a space rental in Worcester, and it was heated by a wood stove. And it was up a rickety stair. It was like a fucking derelict building from RoboCop or something. It was, like where they blew him away. Like that fucking is like probably parts of a cop on the floor, and
that's acid like, outside.
That's bad. It was just real wild, fucking place. Steve Neal, bless his soul, would like stoke a little fire in the wood stove before we got there to make sure we weren't going to freeze to death.
So quite different writing process than the previous.
Yeah, because also it was like Zach and Pete were living in Worcester. Aaron was living probably in Marlborough, or maybe he was in Worcester at the time. And Aaron Bedard was living in all the guys were living around that area. I was the only one living in like near Boston, so I would commute, 2 days a week or whatever it was from Boston out to Worcester, driving out. And it was work. We worked hard, and we were determined, really determined.
The payoff for that definitely shows on that record. So I don't know if it's a good time to dive in. We'll have to, I think, Matt, we figured out that we'd have to make some adjustments to the settings to be able to play the music. But the first one that I wanted to talk about was Speechless. I don't think we really need to play a clip of it, but what always stood out to me was you just come in straight with that boom bap, kick snare, kick snare, kick snare, kick snare. it kind of rides out for a second, and then you come back in. And I always thought that this will be my flowers to you. If you manage to make these subtle changes throughout every part, but still have them like sound consistent, right? So the second time through, there's like a boom, bop, 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 there's like a little gallop on the kick patterns, and it just fucking adds such a cool layer of texture to the song. So and I still to this day, like those little start stop things that you're doing, I can't figure it out. That's why I was so surprised. Like I thought you were like a trained rudiment, like time signature studying. Like it's fucking, it's so wild that some people just have that. Like, and maybe it is the lack of training that does it for some people.
I think it does because there's no gatekeeper being like, nobody does that. You know, I think like, and for me to be like, a card carrying contrarian anytime anybody tells me that you can't do it.
Yep.
You know, but like I don't say, oh, I'm going to do it. I get mad and sulk, you know, like I think like that. It's funny you mentioned those two little parts because that was deliberate. I remember doing that and being kind of like, yeah, that's cool. Like I knew I didn't want it because it seemed typical to me to do the sort of I guess the double kick, like the do-dat is like a very cliche to me, you know. And then for like the first part of the verse is a little more punchy, and then it gets more melodic, and I go to the ride, and I'm doing a little bit more of a pattern on this kick, and it seemed to just kind of complement like that pattern complemented the prettiness of like how it changed, you know. This is again like a testament to like how Zach and Aaron like play guitar. They're just like they harmonize in really pretty ways. So for me, it just sounded like, oh yeah, ride sounds better here, and then. But when I switch, I should also do this pattern.
Yeah, it's still
the initial did like that bit is like seemed like kind of like 1982, like hard, you know, like real like punchy hardcore, or you know like early Boston crew shit that didn't have any flourish. It was just sort of stomping through.
Right. Little, I mean, I know not the same place regionally, but little, like almost like a SSD control kind of.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, sure. But, you know, and the drummer of SSD is one of my favorites. You know, and like all those early Boston crew drummers are all just fantastic. All of them.
I'm always fascinated by, you know, what made you make that certain decision or what, you know, like it's thought out. It's not just, you're just playing that pattern the whole time. It's like, yeah, you're thinking about it. You're like, oh, it sounds way better if I just do singles and then go into that gallop beat or whatever it may be. I'm always been fascinated by that thought process.
And before I have to interrupt, the fact that you remember it, dude, the amount of drummers that I ask I have these.
I don't remember. Yeah, no, I'm not one of them. I'm not one of those people. And in fact, I don't understand.
With Dave Ron from Lagwagon, and I was like, dude, there's this one minuscule part in the song where you come in on an upbeat and then it's beat. And he goes, I don't fucking remember that. He goes, what song was it? And I go, Never Stops. He goes, how's that one go? I'm like, never mind. I
mean, if you're a guy like a Lagwagon type guy, like, you know, you played like 100 million shows. You put out, I don't know how many records Lagwagon put out.
But it was funny, dude. So when you said, I remember that.
I'm fortunate to only have done 2 records with this band. It's a very formative time. So of course I
remember everything.
You know?
That's killer. So I guess, like, you know, maybe in a minute we can start diving more into the those break down a couple songs. But do you want to speak at all on like your decision to exit?
Oh, I mean, I feel like I've said a lot about it, but it had a lot to do with mental illness. Which I didn't quite understand at the time, or didn't really give myself any breath to think about. And you know, it was I had a panic attack essentially every night, and I was having what I can now recognize as just like a major anxiety event, you know, that came on like a really like a freight train, and I couldn't really understand it because I was so young, and it had never really happened to me before. And so I really didn't know what to do.
Was this during
But
tour or
it was
just
during a
kind of
tour, yeah.
okay, okay.
It was during a tour, and
Right.
I just didn't have the way I look at that whole scenario, and I'm not going to bore with details, but I just had a panic event and had to just go home.
Hmm.
Um, it happens to a lot of people in a lot of different situations, and I think there was a lot of self-imposed pressure and a lot of pressure that was like, being in a band puts you in, especially being in a band that's on an upward or a trajectory, an upward trajectory in a band that does not want to squander one moment of that upward trajectory that
Right.
is just going to like doggedly pursue any offer that's given them, tour until they can't function anymore. That was their MO, and that was what they wanted to do. And I say they because I don't know that I ever bought into that completely ever. Like I really was on board and loved doing it, but I don't think balance was as important or like was even a word to those guys at that time. You
Right.
know, and to me it was. Maybe that's a testament to like my old soul. I don't know. But like I just wanted some balance and wasn't gonna get it and wasn't getting it. And I just felt like the real rub of it is that I didn't have the equipment or the language to articulate it. Or I didn't feel like I had the door wasn't open enough for me to say, I'm feeling really scared and I'm feeling really sad and I don't know what to do. Um, and now Jesus, I say it 4 times a day, 400 times a day to people, fucking little old ladies on the street. Excuse me, I'm really scared. I don't know what to do. No, but it was, I had no like, I had no mechanism, and there was no within the band, there was no mechanism to have those serious conversations. I think that they're there now.
No, I don't think that was really discussed much at all at that
No,
point in
I just
time. It
think
wasn't as
like if you're talking about like historically, that wasn't a thing. Yeah, probably, and among like young men, it's just kind of a cliche, but young men don't really know how to talk about that stuff very well.
Right.
Um, they're very sensitive dudes and they're very sweet dudes and they're very receptive to everything. So it just was my bad to not really like bring it up and like say I'm feeling really scared and really sad and I need a break.
Yeah.
You know, it just kind of came. It just seemed weird to me that it came on at like a, I don't know if you guys know anything about anxiety or panic or any of that stuff.
I know it very very closely on
Okay,
a
so
daily basis. It's not.
so it
Yeah.
comes on when it comes on and it does not choose. You don't get to choose it. So I didn't know that. I really didn't. It just had never really happened to me. So it scared the shit out of me enough that I was like, but it also coincided with me feeling like I was turning left while those guys were going straight. And I mean that like, I don't mean like I loved hardcore, I loved Bane, I loved, all that stuff, but it just seemed some of the bands we were playing with and some of the things we were saying yes to and some of this and some of that. And like there was a lot of this. I was surrounded a lot of most of my time by things that I wasn't into and that I didn't really feel like I was invested in or part of. So to me, like, as serious as I was about integrity and about being like, I mean, the band, obviously. No, I mean, integrity, the concept. Like it wasn't fair to myself or them to feel this big feeling and not act on it or not be like genuine, um, like I don't like this and I like all this other stuff and want to do other things. Well, it's like, motherfucker, you probably could have done that and this, like I just did like hindsight really doesn't do anybody any favors a lot of time.
Right.
But I had a what you could call a major panic attack. And you should call it that because it's probably what it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. So I was like, take me home. Like I can't stop feeling this way. And this environment is not conducive to me feeling any better.
How old were you at the time?
I was 20, 23 maybe.
Okay, so before kids and all that, and
Oh yeah, this was
just
back. I
yeah,
was my prefrontal cortex was not even developed
that's
fully at that
right.
time.
That's
I didn't
right.
like now what we know now about the brain. I
Yeah,
really was having a moment where my brain didn't know what to do.
right.
Now, if I feel that way, I have mechanisms to help. I have things I can, do on, antidepressants. It's helping me. Like that's kind of shit. Like, nope, it wasn't happening in 2003 or whatever it was. So
Yeah,
it was a big hit for them. I realized that was just a big hit for them. And no amount of, you get like I don't think you can have a moment like that and be really wise at the same time, to quote Bob Dylan. Like you can't have any grand wisdom around feeling like you're on fire. So
yeah.
that was where I was at.
Well, dude, thank you, man. It's always really appreciated when people are willing to like open up and be like
Yeah.
honest. We've had a couple experiences like that, man. And I think too, like, dude, I was experiencing a lot of the same thing. I was fronting the first band I'd ever been from behind a drum set was, and it was every night. It was fucking terrifying, but you can't walk out on stage and be terrified. So I just had to eat it. And then I would just sleep for days after gigs because
I wish I could sleep. That was my problem.
Yeah, I mean, we were mostly local, but like I would just
Yeah.
any bit of energy I had after those shows, because you have to fight through it and jump around and sing and scream and stuff.
That's the biggest indignity is right. The biggest indignity is you've got to be this energetic force, right? And you're feeling like no amount of energy in you is ever going to come back.
Yeah, and then maybe things were introduced. Definitely not hard shit, but maybe some other things were used to help you get through that stuff and cope with it, which was mostly just weed for me. That's the only way I got through all that shit was just it was a wild time, man. So I appreciate you opening up about that.
Yeah, of course.
Insane.
I mean, I look at those records and we talk about this stuff, and I look at that experience, and I'm like, that was just I feel so badly for that kid. Like I feel badly for him because he wasn't really connecting with how much fun it could be. I mean, I was having fun, and I was like, there was moments I really adored it, being who I was, where I was, and what I was doing. But there were moments that was just painful, and I couldn't enjoy it, and that I really wish that kid could have had some help. I really do, because it would have helped so much. Like I just feel so terrible for him. But, poor kid. He just he couldn't really figure it out. And not that I have it all figured out now, but I certainly am not ever gonna, if I'm feeling that way, like why the fuck would I keep it inside? Why and why would I, expect no one would understand it? Like everyone would gets that.
That's the funny part is I think you were in a situation with the gentleman that you were with probably would have wholeheartedly backed you and understood it.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody, Jesus, if any band, God, it's like I was blessed with these sweet people that would have probably really helped me talk it out. I could not see the forest for the trees at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
man.
As we get older, we figure out, like you're saying, there's the resources and all that. When I was in high school, I mean, I've never gone through the panic attack thing, but probably when I was in high school, I was the most anxious. And I didn't realize I had counselors and all this stuff. Like I didn't know about it. And like no one told me I could go here for help or do this. Like I had no help at all. And then when I think back, I'm like, man, if I went back to high school, I know all this stuff now. Like I would have been a straight A student. I would have liked going to school.
Would have been a much different life. I mean, I think I don't cotton to like the what ifs as much, because what happened is what happened. And man, I was able to make and do and experience some really insane, cool stuff, and gave myself the time that I needed to blossom. I mean, it was like a painful birth, but it was a birth, and I'm on the other side of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I can kind of look at it with a perspective of like that kid, that kid was me, but that poor kid needed something that it wasn't getting. And to your point, Matt, it's like, yeah, the resources were there, but like the stigma was real, and and just sort of like admitting that you might need some help. No one gave you the mechanism to sort of know when that was.
Mm.
And to be honest, it's like a hell of a lot earlier than you think it is. And I think all of us probably grew up at a time where it was like, you have to really be in trouble to like get somebody to help you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I would watch
Like
the popular kids.
like rubber room type shit, right?
Yeah.
especially if you're a guy, it's like you got to be in the fucking rubber room.
Yeah.
No way.
Well, it was like the
it's
popular kids had things figured out, but I wasn't. I was like hanging out.
No,
with
I'm
like
sure those popular kids are, like
coming to all my
there's
shows.
also there's well, but there's also like a developmental thing, I think, for folks, especially, or maybe more like ADHD or sensitive or whatever it is,
Right.
that you're tapped into some pathway in your brain that the jocks just haven't, it hasn't fired up yet.
Mm.
Guarantee you that those motherfuckers are sitting with a beer right now wondering what the fuck happened. And like, so don't worry about that shit.
Yeah.
Like we were a little more in tune with what was going on.
It's funny because I thought I was that, but I wasn't. I was kind of raised to play sports and stuff, but I didn't like hitting people. I was too nice, playing football. I was the nice one, like.
Yeah.
And then
sorry for knocking you over.
Yeah. I
Big teddy bear,
discovered like the kids across the street who, like the goth kids and the punk kids, and that's where that's where that began, and that's who I fit in with,
Sure.
So thank God for those people, because they're still my friends, and they're all successful. It's crazy. Because they're all like the super smart kids.
Great. That's so great. Like the smart weirdo people. Give me those any day, all day.
Yeah, I didn't know it at the time, but yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, man, are you ever planning on bringing back your podcast?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think about it all the time. It's just I don't have a Matt Morris on my team that does the editing.
Yeah, I do everything.
I can't stand the editing part. I really can't.
Yeah,
I mean,
tough.
I love the process. I mean, I don't want to say I can't stand it, but it's just time. It's just such a big.
Well, I'm glad I have a Christian, because Christian, he really researches. I'm kind of here for like moral support and stuff like that. But I do all like the editing.
Yeah,
and stuff.
well, I need a somebody else, but like I really like doing it. I mean, and I had some people queued up that I thought would be really interesting.
It was great, man. I wanted to listen to a couple, so I kind of flipped through, and the first name that I recognized was Alan Cage.
Oh yeah, the Cage one. That was I was starstruck. It was the only time I was ever like, whoa.
It was funny that was the one that I chose, because it definitely it got me going a little bit, got me a little emotional in the intro.
Oh, it did?
Talking about Stu.
Oh, Stu. Yeah,
dude. Yeah,
that was. Yeah, it's funny that podcast was around at a real upheaval time in my life. It was flu. It was I got really sick. I had ulcerative colitis and had my colon removed, and
oh man,
I'm out on the other side of some crazy shit right now.
Oh.
I'm loving life, but that was a rough pandemic period, man. Height of the pandemic. It was rough on old Nicky. And but I'm glad I got to talk to these folks and do the podcast. Like kind of brought me out of the depths, doldrums. And I was like, I'd always wanted to do one, and I was like, oh, I'm home. So
it was great. I really thoroughly I really enjoyed listeing to it.
My personal favorite episode is the Dave Maddox episode. He's great.
I have to check it out.
Yeah.
Were you able to? So you said you were sick at the time. So were you able to make it to Stu's tribute show?
No, I was not at the tribute show, but I was at his deathbed. So I feel like I didn't be at this.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm like, no, for my own sake, like the Stu tribute show was supposed to be, he was supposed to be there, you know, which is so fucking sad. You know, it was one thing that he said early, because Zach, you know, Zach Jordan is the best person to have on your team if you're in any kind of bad position. He's such a good cheerleader and a sweet man that, you know, he'll do anything for you. But he, you know, he brought up the idea of, you know, you're going to have a lot of medical bills and what if we do a show? And Stu was like, I really don't, like, I don't want that. I think he was really adamant, like, you know, unless I'm really going to be really sick, I don't think I'm, you know, I don't want that attention. And then it kind of became, you know, gradually very clear that he was going to, you know, he's going to be in the throes of this thing. And so the show got put together. We all had our fingers crossed, but he really went, you know, very rapidly, as one does with pancreatic cancer. Pretty rapidly downhill. And yeah, fucking A, man, he couldn't be there. It was such a fucking drag. Such a fucking drag. He was such a sweetie. He's just such a good guy, you know, and just a genuinely sweet man. You know, elevated the room. Everybody loved him. You know, it's just like, I just remember thinking, him, like, you know, I'm sorry guys, but there's no fucking God. If you know, like, I'm sorry, like, that's just like him.
The smile on that dude's face, like, you could tell he loved he was playing.
Really, he just was really funny and goofy, and I loved hanging out with him. So, you know, and I'm glad I got to see him, and I'm glad I got, like, it was helpful to reconnect with all the other guys. And during the pandemic, like, we had Zooms and got together, and, you know, we really kind of rallied together and just loved each other's company in a way that was like, it was just nice. And so I do think that had a galvanizing effect on them. And I can't not. You know,
right.
One of your brothers gets sick, it's just, you got to go, you know, be there, but you also got to think about what's important. So I think those guys really, obviously, all miss playing with each other. It was evident from the minute they stopped. It was like, oops.
Yeah, I think they regretted it before they even stopped, right?
Yeah, I mean, the whole build up, I was like, you motherfuckers are just you're not equipped.
But yeah, I wasn't able to make it, but I heard it was a fucking killer show.
Very emotional show, you know. It was very emotional.
You know, I know that meant a lot to the bands that played it, because those were like his favorite bands, if I remember correctly, right? Like, those were.
Yeah. No, and they all rallied around him. And then it was a beautiful thing, I think, to
the crew,
to have that.
The Souls Boys are some of the
But
sweetest guys.
So I didn't go to that. It was at his deathbed, like most people were. That there was a big crew that came to Plymouth. He actually passed away in my hometown, which is really, you know, wild. And because he was on vacation with Kate, it was the closest hospital, all that. So he had a lot. Just, you know, we were all just rallying. We were just like hanging out outside the hospital, and you know, and then there was a great memorial service at House of Blues, which is where he was he was like the head honcho there in Boston, and he worked for Bowery Presents.
Okay.
Bowery Presents, or yeah. Well, either way, one of the two big concert promoters. He was like a higher up, and they were just so great to his family. We put a little bit of his ashes under the stage, so if you ever go to a show that the House of Blues in Boston, Stu is there. Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you. It was nice that you guys were there with him. It seems like he got the send off that he fucking deserves. I mean, so that's a beautiful thing, man.
We did a lot with him. Leading up to that. We saw him a lot. And really, you know, it was really
amazing.
Really nice. Just so, you know, it's, you want to keep those guys in your corner, because they're gonna rally.
That's
real. I'm real lucky. I'm super lucky that they're just like people in my life. You know.
Yeah, but were you at the last? Well, what was supposed to be the last Bane show? What was 2016?
Hell yeah. I had a baby. I had like a newborn baby. So I was like out of my mind. But yes, I was there.
Oh, so we both have 8-year-olds.
Yeah, he's 9 now, but he was
Oh,
like
okay.
six
Yeah,
months old.
my
Or
daughter will
was
be
younger.
9 in December.
Oh wow,
So yeah,
yeah,
we're
man, 9. I mean, when they came through here, he's a lot of sass. 9, a lot of weird sass coming out of him.
yeah,
He's a
yeah,
great kid. He's awesome. He's like the best dude ever. But he's
yeah.
getting his little sassy pants on.
I'm getting that too. I'm getting that too, but
Not sure like the way those sassy pants look. Not
my
Yeah.
like cut.
daughter's growing up way too fast for an 8-year-old.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it rolls, man. For girls too, I think it's not cliche, but it's like
Yeah,
it's a different trip for
it really
sure.
is.
Yeah, dude, I got 7, 11, and 13 all girls. So I'm
Oh,
in the
really? Oh, wow, you're
I'm in the
surrounded.
thick. It's just funny, man. I guess it's just because I live in it, but I couldn't picture it any other way. I don't
Oh, I mean,
understand
dude,
any
yeah,
other way. It's
yeah.
wild. I think that I've always said it. If it were going to happen to someone having 3 girls, it was good that it was a dude like me who wasn't peacocking and fucking male ego and bro. Like, I'll get down and play
Yes.
with some Barbies and braid hair and
Yep.
paint my
You gotta
nails and shit like that. I don't have an ego to bruise being with my girls. I fucking love it.
get in
So,
there, man.
That's so fun.
Get in
I
the
love that.
pink trench, the pink frilly trench. Get in there.
yeah,
Put on
dude,
your fucking pink helmet and get in there.
it's wonderful, man. No, my oldest she's a little punk rocker. She loves smoking popes and we're
Oh,
getting there into some good stuff. So,
awesome.
all right, man. We're running up. I mean, are you good to keep going? I don't want to keep you from the.
I'm having a good time. So
Should we try, Matt, to get into some music a little bit here?
Yeah,
do you
I
need a
mean,
little setup moment where you
Well,
like set
so I know that Zoom has
don't
that.
Don't be shy. You can set up. I could go pee pee.
Oh no, it's not that. I just have to. I don't know if. So I have to
he
turn
has
off
to
the
pee pee.
background. Nick, do you have to make a tinkle?
I do have to go pee pee.
Well, why don't you have a little tinky and we'll
All right.
we'll get back
All
to
right.
it.
I'll be right back.
We'll
Okay.
set it up.
Yeah, man, I got something queued up here. This is little middle part of Some Came Running. So I figured we'd listen to it and then kind of talk about the drum parts. I got it. I think we EQ'd it enough to where it's not going to be crazy loud. It might come in at a weird point, but I'm going to go for it, press play. And again, just want to discuss like the whole building of the beat. So here we go.
All right.
Finding out what I'm gonna be. Finding weapons of mass destruction to combat this boredom that was on my eyes, my ears. No longer can.
So yeah, that just those parts through how it starts the building. I'm assuming at this point it was probably the same thing as that you did in Speechless with just changing it up a little bit and building and adding some texture.
Yeah, I think that was like me. There's a few things about that song. It's definitely like me at my most fucking Abe Cunningham because we were really, really into White Pony at that because it was kind of that it had just come out and we listened to that on tour in 2000 when it came out and I'd never really been a fan of Deftones at all and then just that record just sent me reeling and I just loved the drumming. I loved it, and it just, I think you probably do this, you guys probably do this too, is you appreciate good drumming, but you also appreciate drumming that you're like, I can do that. That's cool. Like you're just sort of like, the way he plays is very like, seems spiritually similar to, to how I approach playing, or it felt that way.
Yeah.
So I was really fired up by that record and by his playing, and I think that song was like my opportunity to like kind of like fucking abe it up. But
Yeah.
it was yeah, I think like playing it straight would have been cool, but I also can't do that. Like I just feel like I just like can't, I can, but I just didn't. I didn't want to. And I think that was one of those tunes that came, came kind of fully formed. Like we had that song, we loved it, and we played that song like a lot because we thought it was just fun to play it. So I think like Brian, like McTurnan had like fucking no notes on that one. Like it was like, yeah, man, like that sounds good.
That's killer.
But he did have notes on a lot of other like a lot of playing. Everybody's playing, on that record is influenced heavily by like his production. Like he was a really good producer. He was the first time I think any of us had ever been like told what to do. So I don't think any of us were like prepared for that or like liked it that much. But we liked Brian so much that it was fine. For me especially, I think like the whole like undercurrent was like, don't overplay, like overplaying is for the fucking birds, don't do that, and like I'm guilty of overplaying just as much as anyone, and he knew I was a good player but wanted me, I think, for these songs to pull back and to complement the songs, and I credit him all the time for that, because I do think I probably would have made different decisions with in a different situation. And I think like a lot of good hardcore drummers who I grew up listening to or like came up being influenced by in the 90s especially were like really fucking busy. Like I really loved that band Split Lip. Split Lip was fucking dope. And like that drummer's great, but he's a busy motherfucker. Like he will not stop. And I listen to that stuff and I'm like, dude, just fucking stop. Like, it's good. You're fucking good, like, and a lot of that was pervasive, I think, back in those days. It was just like, nobody was telling him, just fucking chill,
Right.
And I think being in the pocket was important on that song. Like we just were like, it's a pocket song. Let's not rush shit. Let's be a little more mellow, a little more methodical.
Some groove in there.
Yeah. Groove was like, obviously very important at Bane. I think Bane has always had like swing to it.
Did you record with the click at all, or was it all just kind of natural?
No.
Yeah,
no
I guess
click.
that's where you get that swing, huh? You'd never really get it with a metronome, maybe.
I never played with a click. I mean, I think I used a click like once.
Yeah, sometimes they're necessary for like intros.
No,
or
I'm not like against the click at all. I think they're really, really for good reason. They like keep things like for fucking going off the rails. It's hard to hear yourself go off the rails.
Yeah,
you think you're like right in there, and you're like, whoa, I really sped up.
Right.
And I think on that bit with the shuffle, I'm going straight, and then I don't know, like doing that little like just kind of sweeping my snare drum a little bit, and then coming back to the hat. That's very natural to me. I think I still fucking do that all the time.
Yeah, I just love the progression of it, slowly just getting a little bit busier and busier and busier before the aggression of the song.
Yeah,
kicks
and
in.
then the fill, I think, like just kind of being pointed and powerful, but also having a little flair there. It was important to me. But also that song, it's like, I remember crafting that song. First of all, like I wrote the lyrics to that song.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
It was in collaboration with Bedard. He took things that phrasing wise would fit better, and he added things. But that is from, a piece that I wrote, and all credit to him in the best possible way. He was a very good collaborator. Like he just was able to be like, those are cool. Like, let's try to do it.
Is it the first line that out on the road, little boys let
that's
their beards
mine.
grow?
That's if you know me, that's a very me line. I mean, it's like I write songs still and write lyrics for, I think like this sort of childlike elementalism that I like do in my lyrics is like kind of born there, maybe like having this kind of tongue in cheek. It's almost like it's playful, but true. And it can be very, can be very powerful, but can also be kind of fucking funny if you think about it, So like, and it was true. Like I grew a beard on tour, and so did Aaron. Like we grew our beards, and we felt like men, but we weren't little boys, So it's just, it is very true for Bane and for us, for those who could grow beards. Sorry, Pete. Um, but it was also influenced by Fugazi. That song, "Rend It," was like, because the Kill Taker is one of my favorite records. And so the intro, where it goes bada 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 ba out on the road bada 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 ba, is a direct ripoff of "Why Don't You Come to My House? Why don't you drag me right out?" Like the fuck. That shit was like, oh, this sounds like that. Let's do that. Let's rip that off. Let's make this stop. And so it goes back to just rip off the things you really like. Because
even those roles that you're doing, and I think that kind of going back just proves your point even more about how the two guitars sort of texture each other. When I used to listen to that, I would have sworn that you tuned your snare down for that second, but those dudes just like the way they dropped that note, like it made your snare drum sound completely like a different drum. It was fucking wild, man.
That's them being like percussive players, especially Zach. No discredit to Aaron, he's awesome, but Zach's a real percussive player. Like he's just a very like drum forward, drum posy fucking guitar player, which is like as you probably both know, is a rarity, but also fucking great when you found one.
Yes,
like he really can he can also because no guitar player knows if they don't play drums that they're the most awful people to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Like Zach could really I don't think he could pick up his some sticks and fucking rip it, but he probably could. But he was really good at mouthing and miming the right moves. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it made sense to you.
He's kind of new, in a way that was really, really important.
Right.
Well, dude, I had a couple other things picked out, but we're over the 2-hour mark at this point, which is fine with me. I guess I was gonna try to pick apart Snakes Among Us because I just thought that was an interesting one. I don't think that's one most people would have gravitated towards, but I know you picked out some songs that you wanted to go down.
No, I mean we can do your songs. I mean mine were more like if we have time, it's fine.
Okay. So let me get this. So there's just a couple notes that I wanted to point out. What I always thought was really interesting is,
brought to you by,
of course, it's going to be an ad now, right?
You went right off of your own personal catalog there, didn't you?
I know, right? I guess the thing that stood out to me the most with this is the cross sticking, only in the first measure, and never really returning back to that. I always thought was such an interesting thing. And then those tom rolls were.
Tell me what cross sticking is, because I have no idea.
Clicking on the side sticking the snare drum.
Oh yeah. Oh, so yeah, cool. Yeah. The little clicky stuff.
I love it.
So I'm gonna go in and play it now. We'll stop there.
Got little splashes, it sounds like.
Yeah, a little cymbal salad, buddy. When you were going through, were these written parts, or were some of this stuff just pure feel of what was happening in the studio?
That's all feel. I mean, I try to replicate what, things I liked, but that's a long runway in that song. That's a long intro. And I think we were all probably getting a little bored of doing the long intro, so we kept kind of adding to it, and it kept still being an intro. I don't,
It doesn't matter.
yeah. So like, like that shit. That to me feels so Zach.
Yeah.
I think like just because it's percussive, anytime you hear like that like that kind of shit, that's like very, very Zach. And he has some really cool like around the back door ways of thinking of making something that could be just like pretty, meat and potatoes like sound, really pretty or really metallic. Like that's the one thing with Zach and I is that we were like real big metalheads and like really, really, like really appreciated a good fucking like, nod to our favorite shit. So anytime you hear anything metallic or percussive, it's probably a Zach thing. And I feel like that's all over that song.
Yeah.
It's another song I wrote lyrics for too. That's like back to back.
I'm picking all the good ones. I swear he didn't pay me to do this.
No, I mean that song is such an angry song. It's so angry, and I think like again going back to like that kid. I was like, man, that kid did not enjoy a lot of things, and he was real mad a lot, mad at people. And I had a lot to do with probably, had a lot to do with my underlying stuff that I wasn't addressing. But it's like, yes, perceived slights were very big in my, world, and Snakes Among Us is really like an expanse on like a perceived slight that I mean, it's certainly, those lyrics are certainly true. There was a lot of bands that were like, on a gravy train with fucking biscuit wheels, and we were in a van. We had to beg to start. So I felt like that was what that song was about. Like watching other bands kind of, and this is like written in Get in the Van. Rollins is like, if you want to start a band, that's fine. But like, just know you are going to be struggling for a long time and watching bands that are far fucking lesser than you get what you want.
Right.
And it was certainly true for Bane. I mean, it was no names or anything. I don't even remember. But it's just like it felt someone at some point was like, well, why don't you guys tour in a bus when you go to Europe? And this was a person that like was like in the scene, kind of like was in a band themselves and was dating someone else in another band. And it was just sort of like, the fuck do you think this is? Like, 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 how do you think this works?
Yep.
So that was like what that shit was about. And then just like the phenomenon of like using other people's lyrics in that song, like people that were influencing us, like Nick Drake and Faith No More and like American Nightmare, which was really firing us. Those guys are really firing us up that time, and we're our friends.
Did they switch their name for a minute? Weren't they cool?
Yeah, well, they would give up the ghost because there was another like butt rock band called American Nightmare that had like a lawyer. And we're like, what the
Butt
fuck?
rock.
And then they just had to change their fucking name. It's such a drag. Now they have it back. They're a band again, and they're American Nightmare again.
So
but they really fire us up.
Were all that stuff just single strokes?
Yes, I was never like very good at double or triple stroke stuff. So I'm like a really good faker. Like
I was going to see you fucking had me
really,
fooled
really. I'm not going to toot my
now.
own horn. I know this podcast is all about you guys, but I'm going to say that I'm pretty good at faking the funk on the single stroke stuff.
Of course, dude. This is so funny. I was like, I told my family, I'm like, I'm going to have to turn off the background filter like while we're doing this part, so just try it. Dude, no one has walked this whole time until now, so there's good like, footsteps in it. But so the other part about the song, or one of the other parts of this, it's funny, man, is there's not a ton of songs that I can remember like the first time hearing that song and having that part be like, what the fuck? But I'll just press play and Yeah. So the going back to that chicken, like what? I know it sounds you probably can't really describe it, but what were you even like? I don't understand how you were doing that.
Through your mind, man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it precipitated that. I think it was like Zach had the little percussive again, like a little chicka 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 chicka, freight train kind of thing. And that could have maybe I played around with it being like a roll.
Oh,
like
yeah.
like a gallopy roll. And it just didn't sound good. It just kind of just didn't sound like
What you did sounded a lot tougher.
It really does sound like some sort of powerful, momentous thing approaching something else. And then when it does, it's this big payoff with the fills and
But are you doing like a more of like a kick pattern? Like I guess I just can't,
It's like a
so I'm like I can't begin to describe to you what the timing is, but it's
there's a pattern I do a lot on the toms, but I feel like it's that just shifted over. But that's something that always like. You're right. It added like this little bit of freight train beat without playing that classic.
Instead of being like do da do da do da do da do da do da, like do da do da do da do da, like you're doing like a double time on the kick. You know what I mean? And it just makes it that much more like a momentous. Like you feel momentum more doing that.
Chunky. All right, let's get back in here real quick.
Don't you fucking body shame my parts.
So that was again, man. That's that texture adding of like the first time through. The kick is pretty simple. I always thought too, man, that I don't want to say an odd place, but to me, I wouldn't have thought to put that initial fill where you put it. It seems like it comes in like a little.
It seems like it's late because it is. Like that's one of those things that I'm like, we got away with that one.
But it's like it's just funny to think of sometimes of those things that were either sort of like happy accidents or something like that.
That's definitely up there. But I also, because I think McTurnan would have been up my ass. He probably was. This was early in the days of texting, and McTurnan was texting us. And I remember he was probably texting at that point. So I got it, snaked it in there, my little bit of overplaying where I was like, this isn't going to work. And then it did. And I was like, whew.
Dude, well, McTurnan, that it had an impact on a lot of people. So you snuck that one in on him.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back here.
You can take a road to take you to the stars. I can take a road that will see me through. You can take a road to take you to the stars. I can take a road that will see me through. You can take a road to take you to the stars. I can take a road that will see me through.
Yeah. No, I mean, we did it. We ended it like we played it live. We played these songs a few shows, and we practiced the shit out of them. So we were like pretty tight, right? But I think I was like, that was a good example of me. I probably played something way busier there and that was McTurnan being like, "Fuck no, like do not do that," and me being like, "All right." And I just put, and to me that just seems like super straight, you know, um, but it's not. I mean, it's a cool pattern, and I like it. But it's like to my, how you listen to yourself. It's like to my brain. I'm like, it's fucking boring. I was kowtowing to the authorities who wanted me to not do my special shit. But I like it actually. It's cool. It's like
it's
a
one
cool
of those fills. It's one of those fills that if you did it like for like a small time during the song, I would have been like, man, I want more of that. But you ended up doing it for like
I'm glad
30 seconds.
Yeah. It's like one of those things. I'm like, cool. Like I like it. Like it seems like it's empty to me in a way that's like not unpleasant, but I like as a drummer, I'm like, this should be doing something more. Like an opportunity. You always see all these opportunities.
Let it breathe a little
Well,
bit.
if you think it's fading out, then you're not really going to do a whole lot,
Right. I was like, this is fade out.
You did do one thing that I noticed towards the end of that song that I don't want to say is out of characteristic for you as a drummer, but when it picks back up and you start doing a little bit boom, bop, da, bop, on the snare drum, there's that one that just clicks up and then you bounce off the tom and come back to it. Which just gave it like a cool, like was that just another in the moment, like
probably just made it up, but I think like there was a lot less of an in the moment feel to recording Give Blood than, there was like 50-50. Maybe there was some in the moment decisions. I was like, okay, like that take was good enough that weird thing that I never done before can stay, but it's also like the pre kind of Pro Tools time.
Mm-hmm.
This was all analog. This was all just on tape. So we could do punch-ins, and I feel like Brian had an early version of Pro Tools where we could do some shit and maybe take some shit out, but it was nothing like, it was like nothing like what we.
What year was that?
2001.
2000, yeah, 2001. Yeah, it's about the yep. Mm-hmm.
So it became ubiquitous. Like like the next year, it was like super ubiquitous, but it was like a new thing.
Yeah, anything I recorded that year, there was no punch-ins.
Right.
Like I listen back sometimes, I'm like, I would have punched that in, but we just didn't have the
right.
Because we did everything ourselves. Done it.
Like I don't think we could do it with the drums. I don't remember being like punching in on the drums. But guitars, you were like punching for fucking days.
Yeah, guitar punch-ins are tricky because if you go into it and you hit another cymbal before that you didn't hit, you hear that.
Right. But I should say that McTurnan's the bane of McTurnan's existence, not to use a pun, but were hi-hats. He fucking hated hi-hats.
Yeah. Most people don't even mic them.
He was at war with like making
the bleed.
Sound, Yeah,
it's awful. Especially in like hardcore, because you're really like.
Oh, come on. Yeah, this is like on every single possible note.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, well, dude, we're coming up on. This is one of the longer ones.
It's a long one, yeah. Of course, there
was the bathroom break.
So got the PT break.
So usually we'll round out with a little segment called questions from my kids.
Okay.
So,
and I have one this time. My daughter participated. Matt, this is the first time.
Matt, why don't you go first then? Let's let Matt have the first honors here.
Well, so it was funny because my daughter Lee, she thought she was going to be here asking it whenever I mentioned it to her, because I was like, oh, you should do one this time. And she thought for a long time, and hers is actually topical. So like usually Christian's questions are like a little out there, which is cool, because I told her, I was like, it could be anything, just random.
Great.
But she said, this is what she wrote. How long did it take to get a band? Band? Oh, so she's asking, how long did it take for you to get comfortable playing drums, like joining a band? The way she wrote it was kind of funny, but that's what she means by it.
Well, that's a good question. It was immediate for me.
Okay.
I was like 12.
Yeah.
And I learned how to play in front of people, so it was like right away,
Wow.
you know. And I think playing live is the you know the absolute pinnacle of existence as a
Agreed.
musician and as a person.
Agreed.
But I was pretty comfortable. I think again, it comes from being so fucking young to start you so young and just go for it. Um, you just don't know any other way. You know, you're not like embarrassed. You're not, you know, you don't really, you don't, the feeling like you're going to fail isn't really like in you yet.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
pretty quickly, you know, and I didn't realize that it was something I could do and I was fairly good at. And so that helped too, you know. Um, but it's all about just really, and it's cliche to say it's all about fun. I mean, it was really fun to do it. So something was fun. I wanted to do it a lot.
Right. Right. Well, she's gonna be so excited that you answered her question.
Great question, Lee. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll tell her that.
Yeah.
All right,
So
Christian.
you know, well, a lot of times I'll have them write them down and I won't look until now. So my middle can be quite the smart ass. So she wrote hers in an
That's my
accent.
second language. So
She wrote hers in an accent, and I'm pretty sure. Are you French, and do you like baguettes?
man, I love baguettes and I'm not French, but I am part of the French club in Cambridge. I'm not part of it. But I should say that that's where my friends and I play really nerdy tabletop board games. Is this cool French club in Cambridge, and
Nice.
and Aaron Bedard joins us every once in a while.
That's awesome.
So there you go. Put that bow on that one. And I
There
love
you go.
baguette. And I like making bread, so I make bread all the time.
Dude, it's so funny that some of these have gotten obscure, and everyone's still everyone always has an answer to these. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
So my youngest wants to know favorite pajamas.
Geez, that's a great question. Depends on the season. In the summer, I'm not gonna lie. I'm in my underpants. And you know, listen, I'm an adult. It's okay. But in the wintertime, I have a sort of a little Rolodex of comfy, cozy bottom wear.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one on right now. These are very, very cozy.
Yeah.
I think these might be my go-to for those guys. And then, just a t-shirt.
There you go.
And then, and that's it.
All right. And then the last one is for my oldest. So it's a bit more of a serious question. She's just starting to play drums herself a little bit more frequently. So on the average, in like the height of the Bane days, how many pairs of sticks would you usually go through a show?
A show? I don't think that many. I mean, like I could get away with probably one pair. I'm back to playing 5Bs. I was doing 5As for a while, but I was doing 5B.
That's what I play too.
And the sticks would last for a whole show, brand new. But I always bought like a big case of them and would just play like a new pair, or try to play a new pair every night. But when the tour's getting a little long in the tooth, you want to probably stretch them out.
Yep.
And then I started to be one of those assholes that would throw his sticks out after a while. So like once in a while, if I had a stick that was on its way out, I would just throw it in the crowd. But they often broke in the middle.
On the rim,
the middle of the stick.
the snare rim.
Yeah.
Yep.
So not really, on average, really not that many. Luckily, not that many, because the sticks were cheap. And I was not endorsed, so they were dead.
Well, dude, now you'd be even fucking worse off.
Oh, yeah.
See, now I feel weird that I throw sticks out at shows.
No, dude, kids love
I don't
that.
mean to judge. I'm not
I'm
a
just
judgy.
kidding. I'm
just
kidding.
judging
man.
myself. I'm just saying, man.
Probably made some kids' nights doing that stuff.
People
man.
wanted them.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
kid in Belgium that was just standing there like doe-eyed at me, and I was like, "Here you go."
Yeah.
And it like made his
when
day.
that happens, you're like, okay, you can take my sticks.
Yeah, I'm a nobody, but here you go.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you're in Down by Law. Shut up.
I think I did that at the Down by Law show actually too.
Are you
This
really
guy.
playing Down by Law?
Yeah, I play drums for them now. So
Wow.
yeah,
You-
I've been working on I did their last album, and then I've been working on a solo album with Dave for like the last year.
Oh wow.
I mean, something like that. I talk to Dave almost every day. So I think we got everything hashed out, recorded, and it's just something he wanted to do, and I think it's gonna be good.
Well,
and Matt's gonna play all that right now.
tell him that if it weren't for um, the Wolfpack reissue, I don't know that I'd be sitting here. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite Boston hardcore. DYS is my favorite.
Yeah. Well,
Boston crew band.
it's funny when you're talking about how sweet people are. He is like that. He is so sweet, like the
Yeah.
most sweet person you could ever talk to. Just I love
Great.
you, and like he says I love you every time we talk. You know, I'm like
Oh,
who?
that's very
Like
nice.
Christian says that, and Dave says that.
It's important.
It
You gotta let
is.
people know. You
I
gotta let
Surround
them know.
feel
yourself
so
with
good talking to
surround
him.
yourself with the I love you guys. Then you'll be all right.
I do for sure, and I try to do it too, as
Yeah.
well.
Good.
It's important for sure.
Yeah.
He doesn't like it when I look through his window at night, but that's just something we'll get into another time.
Well, really, it's context. Like if you're saying "I love you," just breathing it or mouthing it from his bedroom window, that's
I like to write it in the fog.
different. It's different.
Alligator food.
Jesus. I think this would be a perfect fucking note to end it on the creepy,
Yeah.
the creepiness.
Sure. This has been great, guys. Thanks a lot.
Nick, man, I really, really appreciate it, dude. Thank you so
Yes.
much. I know you got a kiddo, and I'm assuming maybe work tomorrow. And
He's hopefully fucking asleep.
yeah. Well, hopefully you get enough sleep yourself for work tomorrow, man. It's 10:30, so
Oh, I'm working from home, man. I'm good.
dude,
That's what I do.
appreciate.
Living the dream.
Yeah, well, not every day. Tomorrow's my work from home day. So
Yeah.
Either way, man, very much appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you.
And again, thank you for being so open, and I think people get a lot of insight into the world of Nick. So this is gonna be a good one, man. Thank you so much.
The dark, tangled fucking forest. Welcome. Come on in.
All right, man. Well, dude, it's been a pleasure. It was very nice meeting you. Good chatting with you. And
See you guys.
maybe sometime we can set up a little, if you're interested, set up a number 2 and go over a couple more songs and talk about some stuff that you're into currently.
I'm here, man. I love doing this stuff. So
Fuck yeah, dude. Awesome. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, man.
okay.
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
guys.
Thanks, bud.
Bye.